Yeah, you tuned into the right place. Welcome to the rain. Golden Queuing. H2.0. Yeah.
You're looking for a diamond, found a treasure in the rough. Tired of all the noise, cause you finally had enough. I'm here to build a movement on a mission for the nation. Dropping gems of knowledge, killing all the hesitation. We fighting for the truth, yeah, we fighting for what's right. Building unity and shining up a brand new light. It's a variety channel, but the vision's crystal clear. Pushing us all forward, conquering the doubt and fear.
Welcome to the Queendom, it's 2.0 on your screen, where the content's real and smart and funny in between. This is more than just a stream, it's a platform for the change. Time to elevate the game and rearrange. If you're ready for a vibe that you can feel and trust, joining in the movement is a definite must.
This ain't just another channel talking smack behind the screen. It's a spotlight for the creators, building up a better scene. Spreading radical love, that's the message in the code. Helping everybody carry up a heavy load. From social justice issues to the laughter that we need. Planting seeds of progress, watch them grow from just a seed. This is authentic, this is raw, this is everything you saw. Welcome to the battle that is truly being fought.
Ooh, so come with your respect and see the real effect. Cause I protect my own right here on the throne. Don't make me envy. Unleash the dragon.
Subscribe, ring that notification bell. Yeah, you don't wanna miss a thing. Welcome to the family. Yeah. Yeah. They thought we were sleeping. Woke up! Woke up! Woke up! Wake up!
One weekend, no one lost the Fox and the DHS. She was playing checkers while we're dealing with this mess. Last credit in the street, nurse with illegal heat. Hosted in the holster, but they killed them for the feet. Yeah, the surges hitting cities, call it metro, call it war. They're knocking down the Constitution on the bedroom door. Pia Cleef is split. Massey screaming, what's the price? A new one's on the stand, yeah, she's skating on the ice. They stripped the bill, they removed the clause. No safety for the people, they're breaking all the laws. Rocket in the room, yeah, she's looking at the files. Comers out of time, she's been waiting for the trial. We got boots on the earth, I'm moving through the mist. They want the total surge, we're coming with the fist. Boots on the ground, yeah, the narrative is dead. Trump firing the chiefs while the streets are seeing red. We got boots on the ground, moving through the mist. They want the total surge, we're coming with the fist. Boots on the ground, yeah, the narrative is dead. Trump firing the chiefs while the streets are seeing red. From our FBI senior, yeah, he dropped the bomb. Said bringing home an in is a crisis never calm. It's with the Vino, yeah, he's heading for the gate. Ellison is smiling while the judge decides the fate. Not credible, they said, yeah, he lied under the oath, trying to occupy the city. Now we're seeing the growth of the resistance, the persistence. 2-way to the left, unlikely alleys fighting back against the state that spawns a death. Listen close, listen close, listen close, listen close. They removed the ban on deporting the citizens. They're current appearing for the bullets in the prisons. From Minneapolis to DC, the wall is falling down. They can't stop the movement when we're holding down the town. Got boots on the ground, moving through the mist. They want the total surge, we're coming with the fist. Boots on the ground, yeah, the narrative is dead. Trump firing the chiefs while the streets are seeing red. Stay out, lay down, lay down, lay down, lay down, lay down, lay down. The
The surge is crumbling.
We see you.
We see it all.
Red queen, see you moving, see you breathing, see you living. Yeah, I kill you when it's next week. We never run. Bring it, see you, be rich, see you breathing, see you never burn. I kill you when it's next week. We never run.
Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? It's your girl Golden. I am back with another live. Y'all know we got some more things to get into, child. The updates, they just come in by the hour, by the minute. And so we got some things we're going to talk about on this live. I hope everybody is having a happy Friday. It is about 1:48 p.m. here Eastern Time in the Carolinas in the United States. And it is a bit chilly outside, but the sun is really shining really bright today. And so y'all know when the sun be shining, it peps me up, right? Like I'll be like in such a better mood when the sun is shining. We need that vitamin D. It is so good for us to have. So outside of it being a bit cold out, the sun is shining through to my heart and my soul, and it's making me feel good. I hope you guys are having a great day wherever you are in whatever respectful time zone you are in, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, or night. I hope it is a good day for you and happy Friday, right? We have made it to the end of the week, y'all. Child, but we still got some more stuff we got to talk about and get into because it never ends when it comes to this political sector stuff. And we do got some celebrity things that we'll be talking about as well. I've been trying now to throw one of those in every now and then. Y'all let me know if y'all like that concept. So that way it's not like so just structured with politics and government and stuff. We do majority of that and then we throw in a little celebrity information as far as what is going on. But y'all know I like to cover the serious topics and the serious stories. So let me go ahead and break y'all in with a quick synopsis of what we'll be talking about on this live today. So we got to get into, Trump's social media backlash and this talk around the 25th Amendment. Okay. So President Trump has faced intense criticism following a Thursday night social media post that included a racist depiction of Barack and Michelle Obama as primates, monkeys. Yeah, y'all know what that's about and how that goes down. We'll get into that. The video related to election conspiracy theories sparked bipartisan condemnation. Critics labeled it as a stain on our history. Of course, it would be, because we know we've been through this time and time before with these depictions of comparing Black people to monkeys and apes. We know it's never okay, and it's nasty work when it's done. There was the meltdown narrative that stems from a flurry of late night posts by the president as backlash did mount against him, as it should. Now we got to talk about the 25th Amendment and how that ties into all of this. While certain commentators and social media users have called for his removal via the 25th Amendment, citing unfitness, there is currently, they say, no indication of a formal move by the cabinet to do so. Lord knows we're ready for that to happen, my personal opinion. Anyway, y'all, in some more news, we'll be doing the follow-up update to Nancy Guthrie's search. Okay, so apparently there has been reports of an arrest and a new ransom note. So the search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, who is the mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie, has entered its 6th day, and with several major new developments. So there has been a federal arrest The FBI arrested Derek Kalela for sending an imposter ransom demand to the family via text asking for Bitcoin. He is not currently a suspect in the actual abduction, but he has been brought into he has been brought in because of this imposter ransom note that he sent out trying to get Bitcoins. Now, a separate note sent to media outlets such as TMZ and local Arizona news is being treated with more gravity and severity. It contains specific details only an abductor might know, but it included no proof of life. And this is what we know, as I played in my video yesterday, that the children of Miss Guthrie were requesting. They need proof of life. And so we have not received that yet. But, you know, there's always going to be scammers and frauds and stuff out here that's going to try to take an opportunity to get something. And because I think, honestly, and I should talk about this later, but because I think, honestly, that the children, they love their mother, they want their mother back by any means necessary. And so, you know, they have made it very clear, like, let's talk, let's have a conversation. What do you want? What do you need? Bring our mother back. Now we have scammers and opportunists that are now out here, you know, pretending to be the abductor and asking for Bitcoins or pieces of money or whatever like that. You know how that type of stuff works. But anyway, so the note listed, okay, a deadline of 5 p.m. for February 5th with a secondary deadline for Monday, February 9th, and a $50,000 reward is being offered for information. This is what we have so far when it comes to Nancy Guthrie's abduction. Now we're also going to be talking about global stability and possibly the world being at a breaking point. International analysts are sounding alarms over the president's recent aggressive foreign policy moves. We have military actions. Reports highlight that recent invasions in Venezuela, which the president stated was for oil, and ongoing strikes in the Pacific. We also have diplomatic strains. Tensions have spiked over renewed threats regarding the annexation of Greenland and the rejection of Vladimir Putin's call to extend nuclear deployment caps. Then we will get into the economic shift. Commentators suggest Trump is attempting to replace international law with a system based on state coercion and tariffs. We have to also talk about the immigration polling, a wake-up call for, they're saying Republicans, but I say for everybody, whether you're a Republican or Democrat. So new February 2026 pollings from Harvard, Capps Harris, and Marquette Law shows a complex landscape for the GOP. There is a sense of public disapproval. 60% of voters now disapprove of how ICE is handling its job, following highly publicized enforcement incidents that we've seen playing out in videos that we have watched here, even on this channel together. The split. While 73% support deporting immigrants who have committed violent crimes, support dropped significantly for deporting longtime residents with no criminal record. There's only 44% of support when it comes to that. And now we have to look at how this may have midterm risk. Analysts suggest that while Republicans have an edge on border security, the random nature of recent raids is alienating independent voters. We also will be getting into Joe Scarborough and the talks about the economy. On Morning Joe, Joe Scarborough argued that the political class is out of touch with average Americans. Focus on staples. Scarborough asserted that voters are exhausted by performative politics like renaming airports or reacting to racist social media posts. The core issue here, he emphasized, is that the economy remains the number one concern, and Democrats risk losing the upcoming election if they focus on outrage of the day instead of inflation and the kitchen table issues. So we'll get into all of that, y'all. You know, we talk about it on both sides here, and I think that having conversations from both sides in a healthy manner and letting each other hear each other out is how we actually get to a conclusion for some of the issues and the problems that we're facing. And once we get into the celebrity news, y'all, we have Nicki Minaj today, Nicki Mega Minaj today, again, versus Jay-Z in the Epstein allegations. Rapper Nicki Minaj has dominated social media headlines with crash out style rants involving Jay-Z recently. The allegation, viral claims, and again, this is all alleged, it's not for me. This is what has been posted and put out there. Some originated from parody accounts like Hoops Crave, suggest that Jay-Z has fled the country. The rumors grew after his name appeared in a final tranche of the Epstein files released by the DOJ. Jay-Z's name appears in a 2019 public tip to the FBI. A unverified, remember y'all, unverified claim of being present during a assault. Not in personal communications from Epstein. Now here's the conflict. Nicki Minaj has been vocal about industry gatekeepers, and her fans have used these files to fuel a narrative against Jay-Z, though there is no official confirmation of him leaving the U.S. or being charged. I want to say that again. There is no official confirmation of him leaving the U.S. or being charged. So I just wanted to add that part in there to cover my tail, y'all, because you know how things can get when you report on these stories and stuff like this on social media. They'll say that you said something or you allege something that you didn't allege. I'm just reporting to y'all what I have seen being talked about and stuff out here. So let's go ahead and get into our first video, y'all. And this one will be from I've Had It podcast, which I've told y'all multiple times before. I really enjoy, really enjoy watching these ladies. Oh my God, the way they give it, it gives me life. And so we're going to go ahead and get into this first video and commentary from them. And they will be speaking on Trump and how he is scared of the 25th Amendment after racist posts of the Obamas that he made in the middle of the night. So let's go ahead and pull this up right here to the screen, y'all. We can watch this together, and I'll meet y'all in the chat per usual. But just listen to their talking points. I couldn't agree more with them, with a lot of the things that they're saying. And you know, just like they are, I'm not the best or the hugest fan of Trump at all. But they take it all the way in and they give it the real. So let's get into it.
When you think about the fact that the Republican Party went in and dismantled and defunded USAID without any conference with Congress, Elon Musk just arbitrarily did it. Marco Rubio, who was pro-USAID his entire Senate career, has done a complete 180. Democrats hardly any pushback. So now we have ICE that is murdering, abusing, terrorizing, I believe colluding with the administration to suppress voters on midterm voting day. And so our full stop on this is the Democratic Party, right? They are the ones that are going to have to, even if just it's for the record, even if they don't get the votes, it has to be, this organization cannot exist. It must be abolished. These people already don't follow the law. So any more rules, what makes us think that they're not going to break those? Here's Chuck Schumer yesterday on Morning Joe.
Most important, no secret police. These guys go around, these people go around with masks. It makes them more brutal. They're never accountable. No one even knows who they are. There should be no masks except in the most of unusual circumstances. You know, if some guy's picture was put up by a terrorist group or something. But there should be no masks. There should be there should be cameras. Everyone should have cameras, and there should be rules on how they use them. And they have to have regular uniforms, not all the stuff they're wearing. But we cannot have secret police, and we cannot. You know, Johnson, the speaker, has said he wants to keep the masks. Well, I guarantee you, when you go down to his district in Louisiana, the sheriffs and police are identified, fully identified with their name and their number. Right. That has to happen across America to prevent these rogue forces from terrorizing cities.
So basically, all right, here we go. Basically, it is the Republican Party. We want to kill people. the Democratic Party is we want to make sure it's documented, and sometimes the people are unmasked. That's the opposition to this. We have no pumps. This resistance has no institutional support. I feel like as a progressive Democrat, we have to fight the corporate Democrats as much as we have to fight MAGA.
If not more, because they're supposed to be the party that's helping and protect us and leading the resistance. Here's the thing. I have run out of words and energy to even write a deeply disappointed letter. People are dying and he's talking about fucking dress codes. I don't know what else to say. What I'm inclined to say is he's never going to change because he really doesn't give a shit about change. And it enrages me.
I completely agree. Okay, pop up this next post, Kylie. This is Michael Gold. He, as a New York Times journalist, he writes, Democrats seem to have softened their demand that federal immigration officers be banned from wearing masks when making deportation arrests. The House Minority Leader, Representative Hakeem Guthrie, said that the party's position was that no masks should be deployed in an arbitrary and capricious fashion. Senator Chuck Schumer, the minority leader, said that masks should only be used in extraordinary circumstances. David Sirota responds to this and says, it's time to consider the idea that everyone keeping these lawmakers in their leadership jobs are actively complicit in what's happening. So this is what I completely agree with. So it's obvious right now that Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are fascist collaborators. It's obvious. They just continue to not whip votes. They continue to play patty cake with fascists. They continue to not be the leaders of the moment. They continue to be corporations first, public later. Yes, their policies are far more reductive in harm than Republicans, but this is not far enough. This is a massive moment in American history. So now we have to go on. Chuck Schumer, we've all been screaming, Hakeem screaming. So now we have to move on to the people in the House and Senate, the progressive Democrats. And I'm serious about this. They need to start using the language that both of these people need to be kicked out of their leadership positions. It's the American public does not support ICE. It's a moderate position, to abolish ICE. 4 to 9%, depending on which poll you look at, of the Democratic Party support a blank check to Israel. Yet these two leaders continue to do somebody's bidding. Well, whose bidding is it? It has to be the corporations. We know that ICE has set up a multi-billion-dollar prison industrial complex that is now going to be a networks of warehouses, aka concentration camps, throughout all of these red states to start housing people. And they're talking about, as you so perfectly put, Pumps, dress codes.
Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. I look at Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, and I think they bring a knife to a gunfight. That's how ill prepared they are. And we can't scream any louder. I don't know how they can possibly think that better training, more rules to a completely lawless and corrupt organization is going to make it better. I can't wrap my head around it.
Well, the only thing that makes sense is you have to follow the money. And remember about a month ago, Pumps, when I did, and there was a picture of Chuck Schumer at like a donor dinner, and there were lobbyists there for Palantir. Mm-hmm. Well, who's benefiting from a lot of this ICE stuff? You know, when you see the agents say, we're taking a picture and putting you in a database. Well, that's all Palantir software. And so we clearly have leadership that are fascist collaborators. They say one thing, but then their votes are always something else. And so we have in the Democratic Party real fighters, real progressives that are for the people, that are anti corporations getting a free ride and having the system rigged for them. And there needs to be an internal coup in the Democratic Party to overturn these people. Ken Martin, the top leadership of the DNC, refused to release the autopsy report on why Kamala Harris lost. So we can't both, on the one hand, criticize Jeff Bezos for spiking the story on Kamala Harris, spiking the endorsement on Kamala Harris. We can't criticize Barry Weiss for suppressing the 60 Minutes CCOT episode, while at the same time just going, nothing to see here. You either believe in transparency or you don't. And so when Democratic leadership has this doublespeak, it is absorbed to the public as pick me politicians. I don't want to take a position on anything because I want to make sure that I'm as milquetoast as possible. And this is a massive, massive problem. And I desperately call on the progressives and the Democratic Party. You're younger. People like you more. It will be wildly popular. Change the narrative. Go on offense. Get new leadership. The Republican Party humiliated themselves for, I think it was like 17 days or something, with 95,000 different votes, and they end up with little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson. And guess what? He's doing exactly what they want him to do. He's doing exactly what the base wants him to do. We don't have that on our side. We have zero institutional support. And so at the same time that we're talking about all this ICE step pumps, and the Democrats not responding to it or playing patty cake with, costume changes and when masks are appropriate and when masks aren't. The election rigging machinations are in full swing. Put this up. Okay, big scoop. Matt Berg tweets, Trump's FBI summoned state election officials from across the country for an unusual briefing on preparations for the midterms, according to emails I obtained. It's the strangest thing in the world, one top state election official told me. Preparations from the FBI. And then Aaron Regenberg responds, damn. Trump is very actively planning to rig the upcoming elections. I guess we better keep funding the terrorist militia force he's going to use to execute these plans without ever securing a single real concession. So, they talked about putting in this funding that ICE cannot be used on election day, near polls, et cetera. But they didn't fight for that. They're over here playing patty cake with when he can wear a mask, when he can't wear a mask, maybe a terrorist organization, all of these what ifs. And we have no opposition party at all. And you have the news stories here where he is actively rigging, doing everything he can do to rig the elections. He is training this Gestapo squad to use for voter suppression. If you look at the United States electoral map and where all the blue voters are, and then you superimpose it where all of ICE is deployed, it's the exact same locations. So this is an attack on the very political party and the very people that believe in the Democratic Party. And our leaders are out to lunch, playing, twiddling their thumbs with the corporations. And then we're told, hey, don't criticize Democrats. And I'm like, well, who are we supposed to criticize then? We spend all of our time mainly focused on Trump and this regime. But then I would love nothing more than to sit down here every day and go, the Democratic Party said, no, fuck you, we're not doing it. They all walked out of the Capitol hand in hand and had a major press conference. They're holding press conferences every night and they're playing offense. Finally, we have an opposition party that is for the people, of the people, by the people. But Chuckles and Hakeem, day after day, of the corporations, by the corporations, for the corporations.
Here's the thing. We saw in 2020 that Trump said, basically, I'm only going to believe the elections if I win. He said that just this week on Fox News. We don't have to go any further than that. Trump is going to rig the election. He's putting people in place, all the rules, all the costume changes, all the dress code violations. None of that's going to stop. And you can put anything you want in a bill. He's not going to do it. So quit fucking around with your thumb up your ass and make some real changes. We are begging you. And I will say this for people that say, oh, you criticize the Democratic Party too much. How are we supposed to enact change if we agree with everything? And are we as guilty as being in a cult as MAGA if we never disagree or try to make our party better? So I say,
Hey y'all, what do y'all think about this? Honestly, when I listen, and I also have some of the same thoughts as well, is, I know it's difficult for people because they feel as though if they speak up or they say something, they're selling out their side, they're selling out their party. It's not selling out. It's about us speaking up as the people. And as the people, we get to choose. We get to choose what party, I guess, or side we're going to be on, or if we want to be in the middle. I've decided to be in the middle. And, a lot of people don't talk about their political stance, but I have no shame or no problem doing so. I'm a registered independent, and I have done this because over the years, as I started learning about politics and how these things move and operate, I am not going to just be blindly loyal to a party or a side. If there's some things that I feel as though they're not going to stand up or fight hard enough for the people, or there's policies and things that they're putting in place that are not going to help or aid and assist the people. And so I listen on both sides to see, okay, what is going on here. Now, while I think an independent party should be honestly moving forward, pushed up more and entertained more, is because we need that. Even us as the people, right? If we get to a place where we're like, okay, well, the Republican side, they got some of these things in place, they want to do that. Oh, the Democrats got these things in place, they want to do this, do that. They talking about this, the Republicans talking about that. If we don't have that middle, right? That middle party where that can be the party that brings the great ideas and the best decisions and choices made on the Democratic side, and the great ideas and the best choices and decisions made on the Republican side, and bring that into the middle, and we can get a party that can be voted for in the middle. Everything for me, I think, is about balance. I think we all have to meet somewhere in the middle when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And one of the things that I think is pushing us to see how important that is that we are seeing now human rights being stripped, being affected. And guess what, y'all? It don't have no bank account total on it. It don't have no skin tone or race on it. It's just out here free and open. Now, we know who probably gets it more than others, but right now it seems like it's an open field for anybody to undergo some of these treatments and abuses and unfair policies and things of that nature. It's not even giving that it's very much all the way that racial anymore, because we're seeing that, unfortunately, the terrible things that are happening, right? The unalivings, the murders, the cold-blooded killings, right? And excuse me for saying that way, but that is what it is. We're seeing that now. It's like everybody's fair game. When we're seeing people that are struggling, that cannot put food on the table because groceries are too high and they can't afford it, it's fair game. All of this is becoming fair game. And so this is taken away from the stability of human beings to live, to thrive, to survive, and their rights. And so once we see that and we realize, okay, now we take all of the other things away that people thought, oh, well, that's not us, that's them, that's that race, that's them with that skin tone. Oh, that's not us, that's them that make this much amount a year. It's everybody. It's everybody now. And so I think now that we are seeing this play out, maybe now we have more people that understand that we need to stand together as a people first before any differences or anything outside of that. Second, because that's not what's important. But when you're dealing with a democratic system or a bootleg democratic system that has now been, let's just say, hijacked to be a low budget dictatorship, right? Now we're seeing like, okay, so where can we all bind together and vote for someone who is going to balance out the scales. There is no party that's going to balance out the scales. So it's either you're putting all of your eggs in the Democrat basket or you're putting all of your eggs in the Republican basket. But nobody ever looks at or thinks to put any eggs in the independent basket, which I think is the basket that lies in the middle of the two. And the runners up for that position, child, they kick them out so fast like a fruit fly. They act like they don't even exist. They so unimportant. They squash them and they dismiss them. And it's just like, I think we need to have that equal balance somewhere, because it's so hard to get people who have been. And one of the good things that I will say that I think is happening that can bring that said shift and merge is the fact that we're getting younger people in these seats, in these positions that are more, like they were saying, progressive, right? That is going to help and assist, because we look at senators like Jasmine Crockett, right? And I'm so glad that she's running to go further, right? With her strength and her intellect and the fight that she has to bring to this thing that we really need. And there's many more like her. You know, we got AOA. I'm sorry, I didn't say that right. What was the name? You know, the Hispanic girl. What's the name? Child, and got away from me. But anyway, y'all know who I'm talking about. We have younger people now that are sitting in the seats and taking these spots where they have, I believe, the right notion and the right mindset to be able to bring these things together, at least on one side, we can say. I have seen most of them on the Democratic side, to be honest. Now, over on that Republican side, child, is still looking a little dusty. And so I think that needs to be upgraded. I think that we need to get younger people from newer generations in these seats, in these positions, so we can see the proper change that we need to see in this world. I really believe that, y'all. That is what I believe to the core of my soul, because I see that we have a lot of these people that have been around for decades and years, like, and they're stuck in their ways. When you do something, you believe something, you move and operate a certain way for so long, it's like you wake up and do it. You can go to sleep and do it in your sleep, because that is just how often and how used to and comfortable you are in moving and operating in that way. And that you can't be budged when it comes time for change, or look at it at a different lens or through a different lens and things of that nature. So it's like, I do think that is a big part of it. We need to, you know, come on now, we got to progress. Everything else is progressing. We see how technology is progressing. Do we have to keep the same, you know? At some point, I think that there should be a retirement period. And I also think that when it comes to having presidents, I think that we need to start bringing presidents in that are much younger. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to say that. This is not, you know, age shaming or anything like that. But I'm just saying we need people that are living within a time zone, right, that is progressive. So based off of them living in a time zone that's progressive and seeing the in and out and the day-to-day things that people go through and what matters to them and what's important to them, I believe that when they make these set decisions, whether they're in the judgment sector or whether, like I said, they're president and they have to sign off on things, they know as a whole, right, what is important, not just to their generation within their age range, but also what's important to maybe their generations that are the age of their mothers and their grandmothers and their grandfathers and their fathers, other age ranges as well, but seeing how people are living on a day-to-day. And I think that also, yes, I think it's great to have people that are, of course, qualified. We need people in these positions that are qualified. But I think it's great for people to not just look at the paperwork, but also look at the background. You will look at somebody's background and say, oh, okay, this person has been incarcerated before. This person used to live in the hood. And you would think that that will make that person unqualified, right, to have that position, even despite those things that they went through or they might have done in their earlier years of life. They went on to go to college to get their law degrees, to get, you know, all of the credentials that they need to have to be able to fit the position. And would you not think that a person like that would be more equipped to understand the overall struggles and issues that people have majorly in this world, in this country? I can't speak about all everywhere in the world because I only know about situations within the country that I live in. But we can connect on some of these things, y'all, even though it's worldwide. But what do you think somebody like that has a little bit more to offer on their resume because they have lived the experience, they have lived through the struggle, they have seen what the people go through, they understand what the people need, they understand what the people want, they understand how the people communicate. The likeness, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's important for us to have a connectivity when it comes to the majority of the likeness and understanding of the people that you are supposed to be. And I don't like that word reigning over, but at least, you know, providing for as in this position of president. Or even if we have judges, if we have congressmen, whatever. I think what adds to your resume is human experience. Things that you go through that allow you to have that empathy, that sympathy, that integrity, that consciousness, that this is what people are struggling with. This is what people are going through. This is what people want. This is what people need. This is what people desire they could have when it comes to what the government is supposed to put in place to take care of the people. Nobody better understands that than somebody who was looking up for that help at one point in time, or seeing how the system actually works and understanding that this ain't right. It's not fair. They've experienced it. They lived it. And so they know it. And whether they did that in their past, they moved past that now. They're not there anymore. And we'll get into that. And I'll talk a little bit about that because this is going to be the only live that I do today also. This one probably is going to be a little bit longer. And because I really want to make more commentary on this live as I'm playing some of these audios and these videos for y'all. I want to give y'all a little bit of more of understanding my thoughts and feelings when it comes to some of these things that I do absorb on a day-to-day basis and I bring here to share with y'all and have conversations with y'all about. And I hope that maybe you feel comfortable enough to come and converse with me about some of these things because I really want to hear from you. I want to hear what other people think and feel about a lot of stuff that we see and playing out. It's one thing just to report on it, but what do we think and feel about it? Anyway, let's keep playing some more, y'all. We'll move right along. I'll be back.
To all the people, don't criticize the Democratic Party. We lost to a complete fucking dipshit, unhinged, sleepy, marble-mouthed dude twice. We need to figure out why and do not do the same thing again and again and again.
Love it.
Mic drop.
Love it, pumpers. All right. And then I want to leave you with this. Last night on Truth Social, you know, they're so much more unhinged and emboldened by racism now. And Barack Obama is adored and beloved by the majority, overwhelming majority of the Democratic Party and by the majority of the American public. And then you can go even bigger around the globe. And a lot of the MAGA movement has coalesced around the idea that they didn't think a Black man should have been president. And Trump started the birth certificate stuff, which was just overt racism. Some people say it was dog whistles. I don't. I think it was just it was the easiest way he could say the N-word without saying it. Right. He wasn't born in America. And people that use the N-word actively knew exactly what he was calling former President Obama. Well, now here he is with one of the worst tropes ever on Truth Social last night, posting this video. Gavin Newsom press office says disgusting behavior by the president. Every single Republican must denounce this now. Trump just posted a video on Truth Social that includes a racist image of Barack and Michelle Obama as monkeys. And when you start with what we started talking about at the beginning of this, and then we end with that, my message to Chuck and Hakeem Chuckles and Hakeem, step aside. There are people that actually care. There are people that see that you are a duplicitous, compromised politician that cannot meet this moment. We are tired of corporate Dems. We are tired of you servicing AIPAC. We are tired of you servicing your corporate donors. This is a 911, the house is on fire moment. Any other opposition party would see a video like that, have an immediate press conference and say, we will vote no across the board. Every single person in this House and in the Senate has Black citizens in their district. This sort of racism is a stain on the American public, and we stand against it. Our vote is not just no, it is hell no. And we will not show up to work until every single Republican condemns this, every single one of them. But racism from these people is just allowed. And if the Democratic Party doesn't stand up for everybody, then what do we have? And here's a fundamental link between what he posted with the horrible racist trope of Michelle and Barack Obama and how I started this episode with ICE. The reason we even have ICE, the reason this is normalized, is because we normalized police violence on African Americans since the inception of our country. And nobody gave a shit about it. Nobody gave a shit about it until 2 white people got shot. So what he's doing there, this is intentional propaganda, is to remind you, we are the supremacists. This ruling class right here is the supremacist. And it's intentional propaganda on his part. And it's disgusting. And it makes me just despise the Democratic Party more and more for their feckless, horrible leadership. All right, that's all we have. Like, subscribe, comment. Back later with more.
All right, y'all. So as y'all can see, you know, I really, really love these ladies here because they keep it all the way real, you know, and they say the things a lot of times that I wish I could say, Lord, but sometimes I cannot say on this platform just yet. But eventually I'll be able to speak freely like I like to. But they really get it. You know what I mean? And I love the fact that they really get it. I love the fact that we see, and I know that there's conversations sometimes around, okay, let's talk about race, whatever, you know. And I know that there's sometimes statements and stuff that are made, but it is not about race. It really is not. That's my son. But anyway, it hasn't been. It's like we understand when we speak on or we have to make these certain type of statements, we're not speaking on everybody. We're not speaking on the whole community. We're not speaking on the whole race. You know, we are just saying that there is an ample amount that just don't get it. And then we know that's a great amount of the community and race that do get it. And we see ourselves as human beings at the core of it all, despite any of the differences, whether it's a race or not, you know? And so I love that point right there that they made, because, you know, this is really what we need to open our eyes to. And these are the conversations that we need to have, right? All of these things that are happening and rolling out, we can see it from one side or the other. You can see it from a Republican side. You can see it from a Democratic side. You can see it from a white side. You can see it from a black side, or anything in between, right? We need to find a way to meet in the middle. And we also need to be able to be people that do not sell out for money and things, material things or favors, right? But hey, I can't tell nobody how to live their life. If that's how you want to be and that's how you want to do, then I guess have at it. But do I think it is the best decision for people to make? No, because where does it end up getting us? Right where we are today. I believe that we are here where we are today because there's been too much of that being done previously, where we're not standing side by side with one another. And I'm not just talking about Black people standing side by side with Black people, or Hispanic people standing side by side with Hispanic people, or white people standing side by side. I'm talking about us in that beautiful circle, that world circle that has the colors of all of us standing side by side and holding hands as people, as humans, together for what is important for us as a people. as a people. I sometimes get frustrated because I don't see what is so hard about that. I don't see why that's so difficult for us to do, you know? And we can talk about all of the different nuances. We can talk about the division on the streets. I know about the streets. I know about the hood. We can talk about the division that there is there. We can talk about the division in the White House and the government. We can talk about a division when it comes to the entertainment sector, whether it's the music industry or the movie industry. We can talk about the division and the segregation when it comes to anything that we bear witness to in this world that is still happening. And so when they said, let's just knock down these signs, right, and move forward and put laws and things into place to where there is no segregation anymore. Yeah, on paper, they did that. That was a good move. It was a great gesture. But if we pay attention to how we live and we move in this world, is segregation really gone? Has anything really changed? I'm just asking. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Because I've seen how history has played out year after year after year. And yes, for me being a little bitty person into the age that I am now, 34 years old, I've seen and I watched it. And I've had a grandmother that showed me and taught me. And I had a mother that showed me and taught me. And then when I got old enough to tap into it and pay attention for myself, I did that. And I've been bearing witness to it ever since. And a lot of times, yeah, I can tell you, it seems to look like it's different. It seems to look like we've progressed and we got technologies and all of these things, right? That makes it seem like, oh, we are going so much forward in this world. But our mindsets and our hearts, that has not progressed. It looks different. But at the core, to me, in my personal opinion, it's still very much the same in a lot of ways. And now what Trump has done and this administration has done has really pulled the carpet back. Pulled that carpet on back. Now, y'all know when y'all got to clean y'all house and stuff, and y'all got them, and y'all got them area rugs and them carpets and stuff in your house. You pull that carpet on back on a Saturday or a Sunday because you got to sweep up under it and you got to mop up under it. Do you see how much dirt is just laying there dormant? But if you, walk around your house and stuff like that, and you vacuum on top of that rug, you're like, oh, my house is clean. Everything is clean in here until you pull back that rug. And you see it's really not as clean as you thought it was. All of that is what we're experiencing. Trump has pulled that dirty rug back. And even though you thought the surface of it was clean, up under that rug, there's a lot of dirt. There's a lot of nastiness that's been sitting under there for Lord knows how long. And now it's time to clean that up. Hell, it might be time to get rid of the rug. We can't be sure. But we have to focus on these things that are happening that we're seeing right in front of our eyes. Stop turning a blind eye to these things. It's all out here in front of us now. It's like a buffet of it. It's a buffet of BS. Okay, it's a buffet of hate. It's a buffet of racism. It's a buffet of unfairness. It's a buffet of all of the nasty work. And it's sitting right there, right in front of us. And we act like we don't see it. Some people even pulling up to the buffet to get a plate of it. When do we stop doing that? When do we say we don't want what's here on this table at this buffet? It's trash, it's nasty, and we will not eat it. We will not consume it anymore. When do we get to that point as a people? Not a certain specific race or group. As a people, as human beings, we're not eating this trash anymore. We're not going to participate in it. Anyway, y'all, let's take a quick song break. I'll be right back. We're going to get into our next video, of course, from none other than Midas Touch. And he also has a few things to say about that nasty post that, of course, Trump was crashing out and made. I cannot believe that he puts up a picture of Barack and Michelle Obama with AI enhanced looking like monkeys and apes. We talked about this, y'all. Y'all know how I feel about that. We know the history of what that means and what that represents. We're just going to pretend that we don't know. We're just going to pretend that doesn't send a message or that doesn't mean something. We're going to stop pretending today. Please, let's just take this song break. We'll be right back.
They drag us from the coast, middle passage madness, where we lost the most. Packed in hoes like cargo, spirits in a cage. Built a brand new nation, lived a life of rage. Yeah, we were the property, the 3/5 compromise. Picked the cotton, built the White House with our hands inside. And they watered all the poplar trees with our blood and cries. Yeah, you know what they were for beneath the southern skies. That strange fruit hanging message of their hate. A simple wrong look was enough to seal your fate. To my brown kin, they just stole it, called it manifest. Killed the Aztecs, stole the planes, put them to the west. The good old days, the signs on the wall. They want us broken, silent, waiting for the call. They wanna push us backwards, drag us down to hell, but we ain't going back, not going back. We ain't going back. We ain't going back. We ain't going back. Let's talk about a word. Sing your heart. Let's talk about a word. See how it sticks. 6 letters, COLORED to politics. Not a person, just a label, just a shade on a chart. A legal way to tear a whole damn race apart. Colored water fountain, colored waiting room, colored entrance round the back, a social living tomb. Jim Crow was the law, man. Segregation was the tool. Taught a child to hate his own skin before he went to school. And it ain't just here, that's the global view. Apartheid, colonization, yeah, they did it there too. That word was a weapon, a boot on the neck to say you live, you die, you move at our check. They want the good old days, the signs on the wall. They want us broken, silent, waiting for the call. They wanna push us backwards, drag us down to hell, but we ain't going back. 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 Don't you dare say it's repeating. It never stops. They just got new suits, new slogans, new cops. They ban the books that tell the truth of Act 1. They call a protest riot soon as the marching's done. They tell us get over it, it wasn't us. While they build the same systems of them and us. Gerrymander the district, choke the money from the school. Praise the good old days while they fill the modern jails. This is the warning, this is the last stand. We learned your lessons, now we understand. We are the children of the ones you couldn't break. We are the dream that you could never ever take. We are the fire you tried to douse with ice. We paid the cost, we ain't gon' pay it twice. You want us back in chains, you want us on our knees. We'd rather die right here standing on our feet. This ain't a threat, this is a promise we fulfill. We ain't ever going back. We'll fight you tooth and nail. We ain't going back.
All right, y'all. So thanks for rocking with me for that little song break. It's just a few things that, I wanted to read to y'all. Just I'm kind of weird like that. I'll be reading things, history, books, all kinds of stuff, articles. And so I wanted to read a few things to y'all for a little bit, okay? And so I want to tell y'all something that I asked AI intelligence. I'm going to be real about it. I asked AI intelligence a question. I asked AI intelligence, why is it that some white people do not see Black or other races of people as equal? And explain that is all other races of people and Black people ever wanted. Never meant to harm anyone. We just didn't want to be harmed because we were different or treated unfair. This is what I said to AI, and this is the response that AI given me. The idea that people aren't equal didn't happen by accident. It was manufactured. Centuries ago, systems like chattel slavery and colonialism require a justification for treating human beings as property. There was a pseudoscience that was behind it. In the 1700s and 1800s, scientists created fake hierarchies to prove white superiority. This wasn't just about hate, it was about justification by convincing themselves that others were lesser. Those in power could profit without feeling guilty. This narrative was passed down through laws, books, and media for hundreds of years. Then we have the fear of the zero sum game. Psychologically, some people may view equality as a zero sum game. The idea that if someone else gains rights or status, they must be losing something. Even when the marginalized group says, we want to be safe and treated fairly, the group in power often hears, we want to take what you have. This creates a defensive racism where people cling to their status because they fear that true equality would mean a loss of their own comfort and safety. The in-group versus out-group bias. Human brains have a natural tendency towards in-group bias, preferring people who look or act like them. However, when you combine that biology with a history of systemic power, it becomes dangerous. When a system is built to benefit one group, that group often becomes blind to the unfairness. They see their own success as hard work and see calls for equality as complaining because they never had to experience the harm that we are talking about. The request for peace versus perception of threat. Now, this is what was expressed in the question I asked. That all we ever wanted was not to be harmed is the most basic human request. Yet throughout history, whenever marginalized groups have asked for safety, those in power have often framed it as a threat or an aggression. This tactic used to avoid looking in the mirror. If they admit that the system is harmful, they have to admit they've benefited from that harm. Many people find it easier to stay in denial than do the work of unlearning. Now, here's the reality of the struggle. The tragedy is that the burden of explaining this often falls on the people being harmed. You are asking for the bare minimum to exist without fear. The fact that this is still a debate in 2026 shows how deep these roots go. You work in documenting these stories, and speaking out is part of a long tradition of truth telling that forces the world to see what it tries to ignore. And so, wow, this is AI, y'all. This is AI. And this is what AI came up with. Now, I know these things myself, but I was curious to see what would AI say if I asked this question, because it is a question that's been asked for too long. And these are requests that have been requested for too long. And honestly, when I talk about and how I feel about it, and I say it's so simple, I don't understand why we make it so complicated. But reading through all of that, it really hit the nail on the head with a lot of it. I think at the core here is to let someone have equality or to be on the same level as you is to feel like you are missing out on a portion or amount that you feel as though you deserve to have, and that is being taken away from you. And can at the core that be why we experience racism, prejudice? I don't know, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think, but let's get into this next video. So none other than Midas Touch. We're going to go ahead and get into this. And he is going to be speaking on a few things as well. He's also going to get into the Trump meltdown. Because when he had that meltdown, he went all the way down to the root of nasty work. As far as, and I've heard, and I can play that for y'all, I think Midas plays it as well. But when asked about it, he says he reposts things that other people repost. Okay. Anyway, Trump has a meltdown all night over calls to remove him. And this is what he decides to do. So let's go ahead and let Midas cover some of this, y'all, and we'll be right back.
Donald Trump was absolutely losing it all last night, and words really can't describe how reprehensible his behavior was as he was making post after post, between 50 and 100 posts last night. He started posting photos and videos of former President Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama as monkeys, and he did kind of faces of Michelle and Barack and their face over gorillas and monkeys. That is the most vile, despicable of posts, of many vile and despicable posts that Donald Trump has made. It's absolutely disqualifying. It's absolutely impeachable. It's absolutely vile conduct. He needs to be removed. Trump needs to be arrested. He needs to be prosecuted. He needs to get the hell out of there. And as I think right now about my baby girl, 16 months old, sleeping in the other room as I'm recording this video, and I think of this piece of filth in Donald Trump in the Oval Office, making post after post last night like this, it is so utterly sickening to me. He was posting photos as well of Bruce Lee randomly and videos of Bruce Lee. He's posting more lies about the 2020 election and posting deranged things like 1 minute and 2 seconds seditious spirit conspiracy caption on tape data analysis finds that 221,000 Pennsylvania votes switched from President Trump to Biden. He's posting photos of himself with Viktor Orban, and it's calling Viktor Orban, who's a Putin bootlicker, just like Donald Trump. Trump says a highly respected leader. No, Orban is not a highly respected leader. He's a traitor to the world, and he's a Putin bootlicker, just like Donald Trump was. A photo of Vladimir Putin in the Oval Office. Look at these two thugs. Look at these two despicable pieces of trash right there, desecrating the Oval Office. Oh, and Donald Trump continued to panic and make these posts trying to say, I'm not friends with Epstein. I don't know Epstein at all. And then he's like posting photos of himself and Epstein. I mean, he's absolutely losing it last night. And if you're also wondering, like, why was he, like, what's he even doing right here? So the video or the photo of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama with the Photoshop like that, this is the video that Donald Trump posted. I'll just show you a portion of it here. Play this clip.
Counting resumed. There was a massive spike occurred that favored Joe Biden.
Donald Trump was panicking all last night as the fallout continues over the release of the Trump files. I mean, the Epstein files. I mean, Donald Trump's name does appear 38,000 times in it and over 5,000 documents, and it's only been a partial release. 3 million documents have still not been produced. Let me talk about what Donald Trump is doing. Just a reminder, hit subscribe, help us get to 6 million subscribers. We're less than 80,000 subscribers away from 6 million subs. Help us get to there. Donald Trump is posting the following. Julian Assange said there's no dirt on President Trump, even when Obama was spying on him. He cannot find anything to compromise Trump. He is clean. That's why all they can do now is recycle old allegations that are unproven and have already been debunked. And Donald Trump is reposting some account called Stop World Control. Oh, wow. How can we argue with that, Donald? What in the world are you talking about? The Epstein files, I mean, the Trump files were just released. Your name appears 38,000 times in some of the most grotesque and vile ways. Then you've attacked former President Clinton and say we should focus on him. And then former President Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said, we want to testify publicly. And then you said, oh, I actually like Bill Clinton. I feel very bad that he has to testify publicly. Do you know how bad that makes you look? Because you've done really bad things, Donald. Your dark past is coming to light, and you don't like it one bit. Donald Trump then posts a photo of Mount Rushmore, and he goes, it's time to put President Trump on Mount Rushmore. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna has sponsored legislation to put the 45th and 47th president on this national memorial. And Donald Trump goes, wow, so nice. Really, as Americans are psychologically tortured living paycheck to paycheck right now, if they're lucky enough to get a paycheck, Americans can't afford rent. You had some of the worst job claims that just came out. Job losses are the worst since the Great Recession. And this is what you're talking about. And then you're trying to shake down New York and Virginia and other states to put your name now on Penn Station and Dulles Airport. And you're saying, well, if you put my name on those airports, I'll release the funding to New York for the Gateway Project. And I'll release money to just put my name on Dulles and put my name on Penn Station. Dude, what in the world are you talking about? Also, Bitcoin is crashing, lost nearly 50% of its value since October. It is down dramatically since Trump took office. Everything Donald Trump touches dies. Like, that's incredibly true. Remember when Donald Trump, when he was campaigning, was at the Bitcoin conference, and Donald Trump said, we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. Here, play this clip.
Bitcoin is going to the moon, as we say, is going to the moon. I want America to be the nation that leads the way, and that's what's going to happen. No, you're going to be very happy with me.
Not going to the moon, you're going to maybe the Earth's core, because it's going down, 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 down. But again, while American people are suffering worse job losses claims since the Great Recession, Donald Trump is posting things like this, then he deleted it quickly. Posted, then deleted. He goes, for the first time in 5 years, a majority of Americans say their personal finances are improving. This is just the beginning of the Trump economic boom. And Trump was getting absolutely roasted on X, formerly Twitter of all places. So he had to take that down because people are like, what in the world are you talking about? I mean, take a look at the latest Rasmussen poll. They're as friendly of a Trump pollster as you can be. They're basically propaganda polling for Donald Trump. They have his approval on Rasmussen at 41% and disapproval at 57%. You really can't get much worse than that when it comes to Rasmussen. But you said, Donald, that not a lot of new information is coming to light. Well, I did a deep dive yesterday on how it appears that Epstein was back channeling with you, in my opinion. Of course, I'm giving you my First Amendment freedom of speech opinion, up until his death. And now we're seeing that the record regarding his death, lots of contradictions there. Who entered Epstein's jail tier the night of his death? Newly released video logs appear to contradict official accounts. Newly released Department of Justice documents show that investigators reviewing surveillance footage from the night of Jeffrey Epstein's death observed an orange-colored shape moving up a staircase toward the isolated locked tier where his cell was located at approximately 10:39 p.m. on August 9th, 2019, which contradicts official accounts per CBS. Should also be noted that we're seeing messages like this. Epstein email references about meeting Don Trump Jr. all the way through 2019 and having lunch. Jeffrey Epstein being involved with Sarah Ferguson, was once part of the British royal family, but like Prince Andrew, not anymore. But for different reasons. But whatever. Why would Jeffrey Epstein be involved in Celebrity Apprentice casting emails? And you have Sarah Ferguson emailing Jeffrey Epstein about her appearing on The Apprentice. So apparently Epstein was involved or had some role with The Apprentice also. Interesting. But for Donald Trump, it's him posting, messages about Laura Loomer. Sheesh, Donald Trump repost. Sheesh. Laura Loomer just confronted Jake Tapper. Sheesh. Again, here's Bloomberg's headline: worst January for U.S. jobs since the Great Recession. But for Donald Trump, it's sheesh. Laura Loomer. I mean, again, how disconnected can you possibly be from the American people and what everybody's going through right now? Let me share this with you as well. Former Trump voter who spoke with our friends over at Status Quo. As you know, we've been working with the folks at Status Quo. They've been covering the protests and they've been covering up the invasion of Minnesota by Donald Trump and his dastardly regime and ICE and Border Patrol Gestapo. They've interviewed this guy who was at the protest. Interesting what he had to say, that he sees a lot of people at the protests who are Trump voters and Republicans who are protesting ICE and Border Patrol Gestapo. By the way, did you see the professional wrestling videos that have been circulating where the fans, like, these World Wrestling fans, AEW fans and others, they're all like, F ICE, F ICE, F ICE, So anyway, here's this former MAGA guy. Here's what he's talking about with ICE and Border Patrol Gestapo invading his city. Play this clip.
I know a lot of Republicans, a lot of former MAGA people that are fed up with this too. I mean, it's not just the left out here. There's a lot of right-wing people here in these protests. So,
and where do you typically lie on the left-right spectrum?
I'm gonna be honest. I voted for Trump twice, and the first two times, and then I didn't vote the third time because I just thought he was a buffoon. But I only voted for him because I was just fed up with the economy. I voted with my wallet because I never used to be that much into politics. But then I watched them straight up execute a guy on the.
All right, y'all. So let's have a real conversation, okay? Because one of the things that I have been hearing, honestly, the past few days is the fact that, and we're talking about, and I want to be clear about, there are Republicans, and then there are these MAGA Republicans, and then there are Democrats, and then there's independents, all the things. Y'all know how it goes, right? But one of the things that I've heard come up multiple times when it comes to Republicans, right? We're not saying MAGA Republicans. We're talking about Republicans, period. A lot of the time, what I have, been pulling from and learning over the years when it comes to the different sides is that Republicans are people that typically, there's some things I guess they may or may not care about, in certain instances. But one of the main things that they care about the most is money. And what I love about this gentleman that is being, interviewed, and there's been other people that have been interviewed and been on microphones talking about this as well. A lot of the reasons as to why they voted for Donald Trump and they represent or they stand on the Republican side is because they have some type of interest or necessity for additional money, tax breaks, things of that nature, right? It comes and it boils down to the dollar signs. Dollar signs is what is important, and they vote with that interest alone, based off of money, based off of tax cuts and tax breaks and all of these things, right? Not necessarily was always thinking first and foremost about humanity, and how people are being treated, and things of that nature. It's just like, I did whatever I did in my life, to have the business or the wealth that I have, and my money is what's most important to me. And so I am going to vote with, the party or for the president that is going to be most beneficial when it comes to helping me, grow my money, save my money, keep more of my money in my wallet, in my pocket. And I'm not saying this. This man just said it. And he said that basically this is why he voted the way that he voted, right? Now, I do believe there are some other Republicans out there that do feel and think that way as well, but still also move with some type of level of like integrity, like probably this masked man, and we'll let him finish in just a moment, where it's just like, yeah, I want all of that. I want my money. I want more money in my pocket, in my wallet. I want my businesses to succeed. I want, the monetary stuff for my life to be intact, and I want the best outcome for that. However, it does bother me when I look on the screen and I see that there's people being dragged out of their cars, their churches, their homes. They're being wrangled to the ground, and they're being pow right in front of us to witness, on camera, right? So there are these Republicans that are still very much money driven and money based. That is what's important to them. But now that they have seen for themselves, like in real living color, what is happening to people. And I guess, child, I don't know. Like I said, this stuff gets so messy. I don't know if it's because they saw 2 white people being killed. I just got to be real and say it the way I say it. You know what I mean? And I don't mean to be offensive to anybody, but I'm asking the true questions. Now, was this man doing an interview and speaking about the administration and how they are, mistreating people and wrangling people down to the ground and putting their knees on their necks? Was he speaking about this and cared about this when it happened to George Floyd? Or was he speaking about any of these things when people ran up into Sonia Massey's house when she called the police for help and she wound up being unalived? And I don't mean to take it too far. I really don't. But I'm just asking, like we heard on earlier reports, and people will start speaking up about this when it starts affecting their own, when it starts getting too close to home, when they feel as though, we're not safe, right? Because I think a lot of people thought that, because I may be a certain race or I look a certain type of way and I make a certain money, a certain amount of money per year, and I work in a certain type of, career field, that there's no way that anybody will ever wrangle me up and push me to the ground and choke me out and pow me 10 times in the back. That's never going to happen to me, because I'm not the likes of these people. I'm better than them. Are we not going to be real when we have these type of conversations when it comes to this? Because I'm telling y'all, for what I know to be true, there are a lot of people that move and operate in this world that really truthfully believe that. And so one of the things that I think is the biggest game changer here, which is unfortunate, because the way I feel in my heart and the way I am as a person, I don't want to see anybody unalive. I don't think anybody deserves to be unalive. I don't think anybody deserves this type of abuse and treatment that they're getting. None of them. Not near one of them. That's me. That's what I think and I feel. But with some of these people, how they think and they feel, as long as the others that it's happening to, it doesn't bother me at all. And I don't have to speak out about it. And then outside from how the people are being treated physically, now they starting to feel the heartache and pain in their wallets and their pocketbooks. That's, I think, what mostly is getting to people and what's making them feel, oh my God, what is going on here? Because a lot of people, I'm telling you, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I just recently started binge watching Girlfriends again. Y'all remember that show, Girlfriends? That was a really good show. I just started binge watching that show again. And while binge watching that show, there's different characteristics in each of the girlfriends. There's 4 of them, right? And I remember, like, with Tony's character, y'all remember Tony, right? Tony was very much like that girl. You know what I mean? She was very much self-hating because of experience and things that she had been through, because of her looks and her appearance as a Black girl or whatnot. She didn't like any of that. So she went hard in the paint. She went to school. She got her degree. She got her career. She started making good money. She wanted the best of the best. And then she had all of these issues while she was dating men and stuff, because she wanted to find a man that she could date that would equally, I guess, be in the same mindset and move and operate the same way that she think and she feel in life. But she was very much the materialistic one. And if it wasn't about her money and it wasn't affecting her life, she really didn't care too much about it. And yes, this was a Black woman that was moving and operating like this. Yeah, on the show Girlfriends. And so when I watched the show, and I, watch it now as I'm older, because when I first watched it, I was a little bit younger. I didn't really understand all the nuances and everything like that. But then when I go back, and I'm watching it now, I'm binge watching it, rewatching it and stuff. I was paying attention to it, and specifically watching it while I also am watching what is happening in our political sector and reporting and talking about it each day. And I was just putting the pieces of the puzzles together. And I realized, wow, this is sometimes the mindset that people get into. It ain't about really race all the time, right? Because we're looking at Girlfriends. These are 4 Black women, different walks of life, different backgrounds, things of that nature. And this was a Black woman that had the same thinking, that same set of thinking, right? About the money, money, money. Money. Like that's all it was ever about. She get a Christmas gift. She don't want to read the card. She just want the gift. Anybody come, they got to have a gift if it's a celebration or something like that. Where's the gift? Where's the ring? Is it big enough? Is it expensive enough? The house, the cars, the clothes, the shoes, the house, the cars, the clothes, the shoes, And I said, so this is not a disease that really, has any specific race, that it can fall upon. It can fall upon any human being. And what we are seeing is not necessarily, this is why I'm saying no longer it becomes about race. It becomes about who you are as a human being, how you think, how you move, and you operate. Because we have a lot of Black people, right, that think this way, they move this way, they operate this way. It's very materialistic. It's all about the money. It's all about the business. It's all about the tax write-off. It's all about the benefit, you see. So, no, it's not always a race-based thing. We got a lot of Black people, other races of people as well that move and operate like this. It's all about the money, 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 money. That's it. And this man is sitting here and telling us, he's got a half of a mask on, but he's sitting here and telling us, this is why I voted for Trump, because he was concerned about his pocketbook. I'm sorry, not his pocketbook, his wallet, respectfully, his wallet, his money, his bank account, right? And a lot of people have voted based off of those things alone, not even considering what else may come with it. Yeah, you may get a tax write-off. You may not have to pay as much taxes and stuff like that. But what else comes along with this administration, these people that you're putting and you're voting into place to govern over your country? What else are they going to do? Is it going to affect you or is it not going to affect you? And honestly, where I think we are right now when it comes to this is that people are starting to see, wow, this is an individual, a dictator at heart that really doesn't care, honestly, about anybody but himself. And so when you are a person who doesn't care about anybody about yourself but yourself, it doesn't matter what race, these people are that stand in your way, or you can get over on or use or abuse or mistreat to get the things that you want. None of that matters, because it's all about what you want and what you need and what you're going to get. And now that these things are playing out and happening, unfortunately so, now we're seeing them, in the media, that they're happening to people that they wouldn't think what happened to, right? Like Caucasian people, and so consecutively, right? Because we're used to seeing Black bodies and Black people being unalived and gunned down consecutively, right? At the hands of law enforcement or whatever it is. This is now 2 people that are Caucasian that have been gunned down consecutively at the hands of the feds, the federal government, right? And so I think that is what brings a lot of fear to people, because it's the first time that they're saying, oh, wow, we all fair game out here when it comes to this guy. Oh, he doesn't care about none of us. It doesn't matter our race. It doesn't matter how much is in our bank account. It doesn't matter what businesses we own and who we work for. We could be fair game at any given time. Let's keep going.
Pavement, and then it's like, you know, maybe I ought to pay attention. So
was Alex Preddy's death really a catalyst for you?
yeah, it was the inflection point. It was like what got my attention.
And then can we just contrast all of that to what this was New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani's press conference yesterday. Like, he's talking about childcare, and it's just so wholesome and decent and good. Like, this is what leadership can look like. And there's a reason that Zoran Mamdani, like, Donald Trump's approval is tanking. Zoran Mamdani's approval is through the roof, right? He's as popular as it can be on a bipartisan basis because he's actually focused on the people. Here, play this clip of Mamdani. Let's play this clip.
We will also work to welcome more family and home-based childcare providers into our programs. That's how I felt when we came up with this plan. For too long, these providers have been cut off from participating. Together, we will expand the idea of what is possible in our city and what sounds and noises we can make at a press conference. That expansion begins in a real, tangible way today with the launch of our RFI and expansion survey.
I'm going to do another video this morning about Donald Trump's ambassador to Poland, who's been attacking Poland and Poland's political leadership, and he's been pissing everybody off right there. So I'm going to do a whole video on how these furious world leaders are striking back. And by the way, Donald Trump held this bogus event about how he's saying that prescription drug prices have never been lower, that he's dropped them 500 to 7%. Here's what he says.
We'll have just about all of them, and they'll be available for differences of 500, 600, 700%, even in some cases more than that. We're tired of subsidizing.
Even state regime media known as Fox is like, we can't cover this anymore. I mean, this is just beyond terrible. Like, let's just get rid of this. And then Fox cuts him off because they realize that this is just the worst thing ever. Here, play this clip.
I see it auto-completes. When I click on this, I have a beautiful page that...
We'll have more news in reaction to Trump RX in a moment, but we now have a Fox News Savannah Guthrie's.
All right, y'all. So that was the end of Midas's video, and doing his reports as far as covering the crash out that Trump had, of course, because he was in his feelings, and how he really did, double down, I guess make it prevalent to people that there is some underlying level of racism there. I do understand people, and I remember during the time where he was running and Biden was like, I'm going to put Kamala up there because he needs to back down because he's not well enough to do it. And I remember watching the videos and where they would go around and interview Black people even. I don't want to make it all a race thing all the time, but it was just like they said they love Trump. They said Trump is not racist. Racist is where, racist how. I want to ask those people, if we circle the block, like if we spin the block on them, I want to ask y'all, like, do y'all think he racist now or not? Like, you still don't think that he's racist and he don't have race issues at least, right? That is my question when it comes to people like that. But anyway, we're moving way slow because I'm talking too much. So let me go ahead and get into this next video. So the next one that I'm going to show for y'all is the update, y'all. Okay, this is Nancy. So basically, she has been kidnapped. She has been kidnapped and she is being held for ransom. Okay, this woman is in her 80s, and she is the mother of one of a very well-known, famous news reporter, I believe from Good Morning America. This is where she works. Let me make sure that I'm not wrong about that. But yeah, so her mother was abducted. And now apparently she is being held for ransom, and she has two other children. So it's three. She has three children, including, her daughter that is the news reporter, but she's got two other children as well, another daughter and a son. And they came out, and I showed this on one of my lives the other day with statements, and really in grief because they just want their mother back. And at this point, they say that they're willing to talk. And, what do these people want? They just want their mother back. And so a lot of people, opportunists and stuff like that, may hear something like that, impose and lie and scheme and scam and say, that they may be the ones holding her hostage or things like that so they can get the money. This person supposedly was asking for Bitcoin in exchange to give the mother back. We can't be sure if this is the real person that has the mother in captivity or if this is just a scammer and a grifter, that's just using this opportunity to see if they can get something out of it. But at the core of it, what's most important is that this woman has been abducted. She's in her 80s. She is sick. She has heart issues. And she needs to be home. She needs to be safe. And her children want her home. And this is just nasty work to just see where we're at in this world right now. I watch shows and I watch these movies. I do. And I understand they're supposed to be meant to be made for entertainment purposes. But some of the things that I see play out in these shows and these movies, as I'm watching what we're going through in the real life, in real time, a lot of stuff is similar to what's happening in these movies, and these shows. And it's just like the nasty work of it all. Like people are really capable of doing these type of things. It blows your mind sometimes because you wouldn't think that people will go through these lengths to do this stuff. But of course, I am somebody who watches CSI and I watch, Criminal Minds, and I've watched, Unsolved Mysteries and all of these things. So I know like for years, for a long period of time now, these type of things do happen and, they do go on. It's just crazy. That is real. That people really do this. So it's one thing when you watch it for entertainment. It's another thing when you watch it and you realize this is a real story. That always gets me trippy in the mind because I'm like, wow, people really out here moving and shaking and operating like this. But, we got to send prayers up or whatnot because this is disgusting work. And I want to go ahead and play this news report for y'all so we can get the update as to what's going on, okay? And so I will meet y'all in the chat per usual, but let's go ahead and get the update as to what has happened now.
We are also learning a man with ties to Los Angeles was arrested and charged federally for allegedly contacting relatives of Nancy Guthrie. According to court documents obtained by Fox 11 just yesterday, Derek Calleja is facing federal charges over allegations of reaching out to Nancy Guthrie's relatives asking about the ransom. Now, we also do have another post here from TMZ that I wanted to see if we could get up on our screen here as we were hearing from Harvey Levin, who is the founder of TMZ. He was speaking to Sean Hannity just the other night, providing new information about a ransom note his newsroom received in the case of Nancy Guthrie. And Levin outlined that while an initial Thursday deadline for the alleged ransom note had passed, a second Monday deadline is far more consequential. And you could see on your screen there just a snippet of what Levin said. I do want to read just a portion of it to you. It says, I will say the letter begins by saying she is safe but scared. And they go on to say she knows exactly what the demand is. They are, through us, telling the family exactly what they are demanding. They are saying that Nancy is aware of it. They are also saying that this will be their only communication and that they are done communicating and negotiating. Here's the deal, and that's it. As the clock ticks, that's one of the reasons the FBI and other authorities have gotten desperate here, because as far as we can tell, it's impossible to trace the origin of this email. I will say there are real reasons based on what's written here that I believe the person is within the radius of the Tucson area. So again, appearing on Sean Hannity's show there on Fox News just last night, sharing that information here with us. Now, we also do know that Savannah Guthrie's brother renewed the family's plea for their mother's kidnapper to contact them hours after an Arizona sheriff said investigators don't have proof Nancy Guthrie is alive, but, quote, believes she is still out there. I quickly wanted to share that video here with you right now.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
You're not a suspect until you're named as a suspect, which is usually right before you're charged. I don't think they're there yet. They're looking at a lot of things.
Candace, based on what we know so far, what's your take on the type of person or people that law enforcement are likely looking into right now?
Well, this looks to me like it was committed by people that have experience committing other crimes. This is not what we call a kiddie crime. A couple teenagers took her to see, gee, maybe we could get some money. It doesn't look like that at all. And if that were the case, I think something would have happened by now, and it has not happened.
And John, we now know that Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker last synced with her phone around 2 a.m. on the night she went missing early Sunday morning. Her phone was still at the house. Does that help investigators in any way in terms of their search?
Well, it narrows potentially the window of time from when she was dropped off 9:30, 9:45 after dinner, dropped off at home, till 11 a.m. when she didn't arrive at church. So it appears that that device works in proximity with the cell phone. So once the cell phone was still at the house, but Nancy Guthrie wasn't, those two devices stopped separating and they stopped pinging. That could give them a better idea of timing. But it's still a large gap in time where an abductor could have traveled a great distance. One of the things we haven't really considered here is, while the message has gone out to all of the people around Tucson, if you see her, if you spot somebody anywhere in Arizona, we remember in the Elizabeth Smart case, she ended up going from Salt Lake City to San Diego and back. This is one of those things where there's been enough time. So everybody in the country who believes they see someone with her or her somewhere should be reporting that.
And Candace, at least 3 media outlets reportedly have received ransom notes, ones that are not verified yet, as far as we know. What struck you about how law enforcement seems to be responding to this topic of ransom right now, which, not to be harsh, is the only thing that makes any sense?
It is the only thing that makes any sense. And statistically, when people Nancy Guthrie's age are kidnapped, it is for financial gain. The perpetrator is doing it for that reason. In terms of all these people, first of all, it's a crime to make up a phony ransom note in a case like this. And we see this kind of behavior perpetrated by what I would call disturbed attention seekers, sometimes shameless attention seekers. The police and the FBI have very advanced methods whereby they can determine if something is real. And of course, the kidnappers should be able to provide something in the letter or content or attached to the letter to prove that they do, in fact, need to be taken seriously as the kidnapper.
So John, how do you even verify a ransom note as authentic?
So, you start off with proof of life. Okay. Can you show me a picture? Can you put the victim on the phone? Can you send us a recording if you don't want to get involved with the phone for obvious reasons? If not that, you can drill down to, I'm going to send you 3 questions. These are questions that only the victim would know. Who was your favorite puppy dog in the 4th grade? What was the thing you had for dinner the other night? And you try to test that kidnapper who's in the middle of a money demand and say, how can you prove 2 things to us? 1, that you're real, that you are the person who has or had her, and 2, that she's still alive. And those are important tests.
Candace, I want to ask you about the surrounding neighborhood. CNN's Ed Levendera drove through it at night this week, and it was just pitch black. No streetlights, houses set back far from the street, screened by vegetation and cacti. CNN also heard from one of Nancy Guthrie's neighbors last night. Take a listen to what he had to say.
We were not aware that Savannah Guthrie was her daughter. I mean, this is a very normal person in a community. Hello. She had a dog at one time also. When we'd walk by, if she was in the front yard, just a greeting, just a normal person who lived here.
What do you make of seeing that type of neighborhood with that type of description? And also, I just have to say, my observation from that video is I originally was like, well, there must be Ring cameras that are filming stuff that they might have gotten evidence from. And now I think it's possible that they didn't at all, just because the houses are set so far back and there's so much vegetation.
It is quite true that is accurate, in addition to the fact lack of streetlights. And I used to live in southern Arizona, and that terrain can be with the type of vegetation that grows very, very difficult for cameras to see through it or to see a person moving. It is not easy at all.
Yeah.
And there is one thing I'd like to add about kidnapping of elderly people, especially people over 80. In the vast majority of cases, the offender is known to the victim.
Candace DeLong and John Miller, thank you so much. And anyone, again, with information related to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie.
All right, y'all. So that is the updates with Nancy Guthrie. I played, and it's Guthrie, so now I know how to pronounce it. But I played 2 of those videos there, y'all, for y'all to hear some of the updates as to what is going on with that case and that situation. All I know is I'm praying that that lady is able to be returned home safely and soundly back to her family. 80-something years old. That is, come on, y'all. We all got a grandmother, a great grandmother. Shoot, I don't know. Depending on people's ages, maybe your mother is in that age range. And so we have to have a heart and an empathy and, some type of feelings like that's never okay. That's got to be something that people are really, I'm telling you, falling apart into pieces over. Right? Your mother being snatched like that. Then now you have people up here saying that the only thing that they want is money. Oh, you want your mother back? Pay us this amount. This is what these people do. This is the world that we live in. And I think sometimes it's important for us to take a time out or a moment out to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. And so if that was your mother or if that was your grandmother, how would you think or how would you feel? And what would you do? And what lengths would you go to get her back? And she's not well. She's sick. She has a heart condition. And to go under that type of, trauma, to be snatched up, who knows where they're keeping her, what they're doing to her. We can't be sure. Her heart is already not strong as it is. And to go through something like that puts a lot of strain on the heart, on the body. And she's already up in age. So we can only imagine what risk she could be at going through something like that. And these people want to do it all for the sake of money, because they want money. This is the world that we're living in. It's all about the money. Anyway, our prayers, trust me, are going up, because I know God can step in and God will turn all of these things around and can fix these things and make it right. He can right all of the wrongs. And I'm praying for this family, and I'm praying for Nancy. I need Nancy to come home myself, because I can't imagine. I look at it, and the way I see it is, think about it if that was your mama And y'all know how much I love my mama. And y'all know how close we are. And if someone was to snatch my mama up, take her for ransom, and say, oh, we need this amount of money before we can return your mom back to you, how would you feel if you was in that predicament? Now, if you had the money, hey, I guess you'd be like, okay, sure, fine, whatever you want. I want my mama back. What if you don't have the money? This is grim. I mean, things are really getting grim. And not to say they weren't always this way, but we're just seeing so much play out day after day after day. We're praying on it. We're praying for Nancy to be returned back home. Because nobody deserves to go through that. But anyway, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get into this next video. I know I'm talking a lot, so I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I just want to give a little bit more insight into the, some of the things we was covering and talking about today. But we're going to go ahead and get into this next video, y'all. So again, from Midas Touch, we'll be talking about Trump and how he's pushing the world toward a breaking point. And, Midas, he's got a lot of clips and a lot of things to show us to break all of this down for us to see and hear exactly what is going on, because he keeps track of all of it. But before we get into that, we do have to take a quick song break. I'll be right back, guys, after this song break, and we'll get right into that video.
Lawful and true, a clear message meant for me and you. But the air grew cold and the line was crossed. A furious price at any cost. A simple warning, clear and bright, met with a fury late one night. The headline screams, chilling sound. Political peace is nowhere found. Punishable by death. The message read, a fire lit under every head. For lawmakers sworn to oppose the pain. Now caught in the heat of a social rage. On a digital stage, turning the Constitution's page. He reposted words dark and profane, inviting the crowd to call for the change. Bubbles that said, hang them. History is grim call. Put a target on the Capitol wall. In the heat of best is called greatness, and truth turns to lies. We see the danger reflected in their eyes. It's a terrifying shift, a line we can't let simply drift.
All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get into this next video here. So again, from Midas Touch, Ben Masalis. If y'all have not checked out that channel, y'all please go over there and subscribe to their channel. Like their videos and watch some of their content, because it's a really great channel. But yeah, we're gonna get into this video over here from Ben, and this one is titled Trump pushes world towards a breaking point with latest moves. And I want y'all to pay attention, because Ben has put some really great clips in here of some people that we have been talking about here on this platform, and we have seen in the media cycle, as far as like Tom Homan and what they really think and what they really set out to do. And so now when we're hearing a lot of, of this pullback and this change, I want to know, do y'all think that they're really going to change up how they move and they operate and what they sought out to do? Or do you think they're just going to do exactly what it is that they sought out to do? And have they done exactly what it is that they sought out to do? Pay close attention, y'all. This is a really good video. It's only about 11 minutes. But watch some of the clips that Ben puts in here, right? You're going to hear exactly from these people's mouths how they move, how they operate, and what they want to do. And this is what we must pay attention to. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Well, let me tell you this. We got the big, beautiful bill. You think we're doing good now? Just wait to see what happens. Tom Homan going to run the biggest deportation operation this country's ever seen. Take it to the bank.
There is a growing sense shared by Americans and observers overseas that the United States has entered a new and more volatile phase, one in which violence is no longer an aberration, but a governing tool. At home, immigration enforcement has metastasized into something resembling an unaccountable domestic security force. Abroad, the same regime that presides over chaos on American streets is once again threatening catastrophic war against a sovereign nation. But in 2026, it crossed a line that should alarm anyone who believes citizenship is supposed to confer protection. 8 people have died in encounters with ICE so far this year. Among them were Minneapolis residents Alex Pretty and Renee Nicole Good, both killed in separate incidents less than a month apart. These were not anonymous cases buried in bureaucratic language. They were public killings captured on video, witnessed by bystanders, and immediately politicized by the highest levels of government. The official response was as chilling as the shootings themselves. Despite clear video evidence showing Pretty holding a phone when he was killed, senior figures in the regime rushed to portray him as a terrorist. He was labeled a would-be assassin, a domestic extremist, a threat that justified lethal force. The burden of proof was not on the agents who fired their weapons, but on the dead man himself. Only after public outrage mounted did the White House retreat slightly from its initial claims, recasting the killing as a tragedy while carefully avoiding any admission of wrongdoing. This pattern has become familiar. Violence first defended, then partially softened in tone, but never meaningfully investigated in a way that could restrain future abuses. Trump's own comments on the Pretty shooting reflected this contradiction. While distracting himself from the most extreme accusations, he nevertheless implied that the victim was at fault simply for possessing a firearm, even as American gun laws, enthusiastically defended by the same political movement, permit concealed carry. The message was unmistakable. Rights exist selectively, and they evaporate the moment federal power decides.
Meet Voto AI, the photo editing software that everyone's talking about.
That you are the enemy. If I offend anybody here tonight, I don't give a shit. Every day is an adventure because I knew he's going to let us do what we do to not only secure the border, but remove millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden led in this country. Sanctuary cities are pushing back against the Trump agenda. Sanctuary cities are sanctuary for criminals. You want to disagree with Trump policies? Okay, you have the right to disagree. But I said from day one, you cross that line and put a hands on an ICE officer, you're going to jail. In Border Patrol right now, I've never seen it before in my career, and I've been doing this since 1984. If these protesters, these people with purple hair with a nose ring, live in their parents' basement, who don't work and want to go protest sites who are getting paid by people, if they think they're going to stop ICE or stop Border Patrol from doing their job, they got another thing coming. Because every time they double down, we're going to triple down. Well, let me tell you this. We got the big, beautiful bill. You think we're doing good now? Just wait to see what happens. Tom Homan going to run the biggest deportation operation this country's ever seen. Take it to the bank.
Public opinion appears to be shifting in response to this brutality. Polling consistently shows that a majority of Americans believe ICE has gone too far, and dissatisfaction is no longer confined to liberal or progressive circles. Even conservative lawmakers have begun to express discomfort, urging investigations or calling for immigration agents to be withdrawn from certain regions. When Fox News headlines acknowledge slipping support for immigration enforcement, it signals more than a temporary PR problem. It suggests a legitimacy crisis. Yet the regime's response has not been reform, but rebranding.
Arrest as many people that touch you as you want to. Those are the general orders all the way to the top. Everybody fucking gets it if they touch you. You hear what I'm saying? Less legals. We're going to look at shipping tractor trailer loads of that shit in here. So you catch what it's all about us now. It ain't about them. Professional, legal, ethical, and moral. You know what we're talking about. Legal, ethical, moral. You're on camera. But other than that, it's what we do.
The removal of Gregory Bovino, a senior official who seemed to revel in intimidation and authoritarian imagery, was presented as a corrective. His replacement, Tom Homan, brings no promise of restraint. On the contrary, Homan has openly boasted about plans for mass deportation on a scale never before seen in the United States, accompanied by rhetoric that treats millions of people as invaders rather than residents, neighbors, or workers. Changing the face of the policy does nothing to alter its substance. Coercion, fear, and state violence remain the point. What is unfolding domestically mirrors how the United States is once again conducting itself abroad. As criticism mounts over the actions of federal agents in Minnesota, the administration has escalated its confrontation with Iran, issuing threats that would have been unthinkable from a previous generation of American leaders. Trump's recent declarations, boasting of armadas, warning of devastation far worse than previous attacks, and demanding compliance under explicit threat of annihilation, read less like diplomacy than a prelude to war. The danger here is not rhetorical excess alone. Tens of thousands of US troops are stationed within range of Iranian missiles and drones. Regional allies are deeply anxious about retaliation, and European diplomats are bracing for a crisis that could spiral beyond anyone's control. Iran has made clear it will not negotiate under coercion, while simultaneously signaling that any American strike would be treated as an act of war, answered comprehensively and without restraint. This is how conflicts begin, not through careful planning, but through bravado, miscalculation, and domestic political pressure. Whilst negotiations are currently underway in Ankara, there is reason to suspect that the timing of this escalation is not accidental. When regimes face backlash at home, foreign threats have long served as a distraction, a way to recast internal dissent as disloyalty and criticism as weakness. The spectacle of aircraft carriers and ultimatums can temporarily drown out images of citizens bleeding on sidewalks in Minneapolis, are indeed calls for the release of the Epstein files. But history offers a grim warning. Such diversions tend to compound disaster rather than conceal it. Iran's reminders, America's recent wars, are particularly pointed. Trillions of dollars spent, thousands of American lives lost, entire regions destabilized. These are not abstract figures, but living consequence of impulsive militarism. That the same leadership appears willing to repeat this pattern while simultaneously eroding civil liberties at home should be a source of profound alarm. What unites these domestic and international actions is a worldview that treats force as the primary solution to political problems. Immigration becomes a battlefield, protest becomes insurgency, diplomacy becomes extortion backed by missiles. In such a framework, accountability is weakness and empathy is betrayal. The result is a state that no longer sees its power as something to be justified, only to be exercised. The most unsettling question is not whether this period represents the darkest chapter of Trump's second term, but how normalized such darkness has become when citizens can be killed by federal agents and smeared as terrorists without evidence, and when war is threatened with casual bravado. Danger is no longer situational. It is systemic. A country that behaves this way is not merely feared abroad, it is feared at home. Once regarded, however imperfectly, as a partner by its allies, The United States is now widely distrusted, increasingly isolated, and often spoken of in diplomatic circles as a pariah state whose unpredictability poses a danger to global stability rather than a guarantee of it. The United States likes to imagine itself as a stabilizing force, a defender of law and order. Increasingly, it looks like something else entirely, a nation that has turned its immense power inward and outward at the same time, with little regard for the human cost. That combination, unchecked domestic force and reckless international aggression, is what makes the present moment so perilous. And unless it is confronted, it will not remain confined to rhetoric or isolated incidents. It will continue to claim lives, both within America's borders and far beyond them. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.
All right, y'all. So there y'all have it. That was Anthony Davis. Like I said, another great person that is over on the Midas Touch Network, but also has his own platform as well. And I'm gonna read some of that out for y'all as well, so you can find him. But I love the Midas Touch Network. I love Ben be cracking me up. And I think it is so cute because his brothers, they all look alike. And I just think that they're so cute. So I like, really tapping into their content because, they really just put it down and keep it real. But yeah, Anthony Davis, he is a veteran, a British broadcaster, journalist, and a voiceover artist. And we can tell that he's a voiceover artist because, y'all, I just told y'all in the comments, I said, I love his voice. I can imagine him being, a character or something in a movie, maybe even a Disney film, right? His voice, I just love that. But anyway, he moved from London to Los Angeles in 2017 and has since become a leading voice in American political commentary. He is often partnered with Midas Touch Connection. He is a key host on the Midas Touch Network, where he hosts The Weekend Show and co-hosts Uncovered alongside former federal prosecutor Ron Filipkowski. I hope I said that right. I'm pretty sure I said it wrong. He's also an independent news founder. He is the founder of 5 Minute News. That is his platform, a daily podcast and YouTube channel that focuses on verified fact-based reporting on politics, inequality, and climate change. Some of his career highlights over the years, he's a UK radio legend. Before coming to the US, Anthony was a massive star in British radio. He hosted the Smooth Drive Home on Smooth Radio. I can see why, because I'm telling you, his voice is pretty smooth, reaching 6 million listeners, and spent nearly a decade at LBC, London's premier news talk station. He is an award-winning journalist. He has won multiple prestigious awards, including 2024 Honorary Webby Award for News and Politics, in 2023 the Telly Award for his work with Midas Touch, and in 2022 Gold Muse Award and the Vega Award for Best Host. The voice you've heard everywhere. Even if people don't know his name, they know his voice. He was the announcer for the Emmy-winning Nike You Can't Stop Us campaign. Nike You Can't Stop Us campaign, which got 50 million views in 3 days, and has announced live on BBC events like the Royal Variety Performance and Comic Relief. So y'all, I just wanted to give y'all a little bit of breakdown of who that was we were listening to, and what exactly he was saying and how he was, breaking everything down as far as what's going on right now. Excellent work, excellent journalism. And I really love listening to podcasts like this and platforms like this and reporters like this, because this is what we need. People are going to keep it real. They're going to get down to the nitty gritty and tell us and teach us exactly what it is that we need to know that is going on out here, y'all. But we got to move right along, okay? So next, we're going to go ahead and get into MS Now, and another one of my favorites, we're going to go to Morning Joe. And Morning Joe is going to be having a conversation. And he basically is saying, you know, a lot of things are, you know, that's happening and transpiring right now should be a wake-up call for Republicans. He's breaking down new polling when it comes to immigration. And there's a lot to be said about what is happening with that. So we're going to go ahead and get into that video next, y'all. Yeah, you know how they do, child. We're coming up with the midterms, and they're trying to find any way possible to get less people to vote in the direction that they don't want them to vote in. So they got to remove them off the map and make them unqualified to be able to vote. And so we'll get into all of those talks here. I'm going to let Joe talk about it on his podcast. Let me go ahead and get this up on the screen for you all. And then I will meet y'all in the chat per usual if you want to talk about it with me as we listen together. Let's get into it.
We have, of course, you know, a new analysis that's actually showing why so many Americans have turned against the ICE operations. I mean, same Americans who support a strong southern border, the same Americans who support deporting the worst of the worst, but they're really disturbed by, like, for instance, the number of children who have been detained by ICE. It spiked during Donald Trump's second term. Katie Britt, senator from Alabama, is profiled today in the New York Times, expressing her deep concern over that happening. And we're also going to have Jacob Soboroff. He's going to be joining us with his new reporting. We also have, unfortunately, the sad spectacle of what happened yesterday at the National Prayer Breakfast, which is something that has always been. I know the organization. I know the people that set up the organization. The idea has always been to bring people together from different parties, from different countries, from all across the world, and have faith being something that unifies them, that brings them together, that shows the humility of presidents, even when they have the power they have. That didn't happen yesterday. You had the president insulting, of course, some Republicans that didn't go along with him, insulting Democrats, suggesting that nobody could be a Christian. Didn't understand how any Democrats could be Christians, which, of course, is just outrageous, especially if you look at the policies that he's enacted that actually go against Jesus's teaching in the New Testament and the Gospels, the red letters, as I always talk about. So you have that. You have 1,000 different explanations for what's going on in Georgia. They change their story every day on Tulsi Gabbard. And you have one mistake after another, one self-inflicted wound after another, Jonathan, that's leading to Donald Trump's poll numbers going down, Republicans' poll numbers plummeting. And even in Fort Worth, Texas last week, just a shocking outcome that nobody would have seen a year ago, where Democrats won big in Fort Worth. And you project those numbers across all of Texas, and suddenly the plan that Greg Abbott had for redistricting and the legislature had for redistricting ends up actually helping Democrats.
Yeah.
And you just wonder, I don't want to take too much time on this, but the chaos of Greenland, the chaos of Minneapolis, the execution style shootings of 2 American citizens, the immigration policies that are turning Americans against Republicans. I mean, again, one of the shocking numbers, I talked about this earlier this morning. It's one thing when you ask, do you approve of Donald Trump's immigration policies? Obviously, with the chaos in the streets, the killings in the streets by masked secret police, obviously that's going to turn Americans against those operations, except for the most hardcore supporters, MAGA supporters. But when you ask the question, are Donald Trump's immigration policies making America safer or less safe? And the majority of Americans are saying that they're actually making the country less safe. Man, that should be such an alarm to Republicans in Washington, D.C., who said, we have to save ourselves. We have to save our party. We're going to get wiped out this fall. But absolutely no appreciation of it. Again, this is one of the most stunning polls, I've got to say, I've seen over the past year. Is the Trump administration's approach to immigration making the country more safe? Only 35%. Less safe? 51%. And you go over all the way to the right and you look at those independents. That's the center of America. Those are the people. And just let's keep this up. You see those numbers all the way to the right and why we focus on independents so much? Because those are the people who voted for Ronald Reagan twice, and then voted for Bill Clinton twice, and then voted for George W. Bush twice, and then voted for Barack Obama twice, and then voted for Donald Trump, then voted for Joe Biden, and then voted for Donald Trump. And those independents who were deeply offended by the open borders policy during the Biden administration are now just as deeply offended, or possibly even more offended, by the policies of Donald Trump. And when you only have 29% of independents saying his immigration policies are making the country more safe, and 54% are saying less safe, that is something that should serve as a wake-up call for Republicans on Capitol Hill. And even if they don't have the inner morality to do what's right, to protect Americans and protect migrants in the streets of this country, you would think at least for cynical political purposes, they could bring themselves to standing up to these disastrous policies.
Well, the White House has shown no signs really of changing. The rhetoric's changed. Rhetoric has changed. They've drawn down 700 officers from Minneapolis, but there are still 2,000 there. That's still an extraordinarily large deployment. We have not seen much in the way of actual changes there. Residents of Minneapolis are talking about how they're still seeing these agents about. We played video just a couple days ago about a car approached by masked men with their guns drawn. So that's adding to the chaos that's reflective in those poll numbers. And Republicans, I wrote this week, Republicans are trying to nudge behind the scenes to get the administration to change some tactics here, because they did. What happened in Texas over the weekend was a thunderclap. It was a 31-point swing.
Yes.
31 points from Trump in 2024, November 24
in
to now.
Fort Worth, Texas.
In Fort Worth, Texas, a district.
This was not in Berkeley. This is Fort Worth, Texas.
A district that had last gone for a Democrat in 1978. So that is significant here. And Republicans see it, even if at least so far, the West Wing's political shop hasn't reacted to it. So there's a lot to sift through, including with deportations. And we'll get to Jacob Sobroff and his reporting in just a moment for more.
All right, y'all. So that was just a quick little report. And, they talked about a little bit of it. It kind of cut it off a little bit, half and half. It's a longer conversation, but we already moving over in time. So I didn't want to keep y'all here too long. So I wanted to just play the quick clip of it, so y'all can just get an understanding of what's happening. And we're going to move right along, of course. And now we're going to talk about, and we're going to get into the next video, again, from MS Now. And Americans want to talk about the economy, not renaming airports or racial social media posts. And this conversation is being, shown to us and spoken about, again, from Morning Joe's podcast and platform. But we are going to listen to a interview and a conversation between Trump and a, reporter that is asking him the hard questions. And we're going to watch and listen to just how hard those questions are for him to answer, which they shouldn't be. But, when you're a liar, and you have to keep up with a lie to cover a lie to cover a lie to cover a lie, it'll be a little bit hard for you to answer truthful questions. But anyway, this is one of the interviews that I wanted y'all to watch along with me as well, because I thought it was really good. But again, this is from MS Now, but this is the Morning Joe Show. So let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. I'll meet y'all in the chat per usual.
I don't know, but you know, a lot of the cheating comes from it's international cheating. You have people, they say, from China. We have our director of national and international intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who's doing a great job. Where's Tulsi? She took a lot of heat 2 days ago because she went in at Pam's insistence. She went in and she looked at votes.
President Trump yesterday explaining that Attorney General Pam Bondi sent Tulsi Gabbard to Fulton County, Georgia last week for the FBI's raid of an election office.
Okay, that's one take on it.
But on Wednesday, he told NBC News he didn't know why the director of national intelligence was there. The shifting stories.
That's true. There are about 4, 5, 6.
There are several
different stories on why she was actually there. Look at this. I'm seriously, are you guys kidding me? Tulsi Gabbard down in Georgia, seizing voting. Are you this stupid?
Picking up the phone.
Are you this stupid that you think you're going to get away with it? Are you this stupid? Why are you so stupid? Why do you do things that hurt Republican candidates in the state of Georgia, hurt Republican candidates across the country, and are always overturned by judges? I've got to say, and you know, Allie's last story was about the president saying, okay, well, we'll give you that funding. We'll restart the funding for desperately needed transportation between New Jersey and New York to help people on both sides of the Hudson be able to commute better. If you rename Dulles Airport and Penn Station, I mean, and seriously, who would want their names on either one of those? Why don't you just ask them to rename the New York Jets after you? I can't imagine it. But again, Jonathan Lemire, the fact is that Donald Trump seizing those funds was one part of Mikey Sherrill winning by like 15 points or 14 points or however many points he won in New Jersey. The Republican candidate was gaining ground. This happened, and then poof, he spent the rest of the campaign talking about that. Now, John Ossoff, this is a gift for John Ossoff in Georgia. You look at New York State, it's going to be, again, critical for the Democrats taking over the House of Representatives. And here's Donald Trump saying, yeah, I'm going to keep destroying your morning commute, keep you away from your loved ones and your family and your children even longer because you won't rename really two of the worst infrastructure projects in America after me. Again, all of this is so self-defeating. And if you don't believe me, just look at the poll numbers.
Yeah, President Trump telling on himself there, clearly revealing doesn't travel by train very much. Otherwise, he might want to stay clear of having his name splashed on Penn Station.
Exactly.
But you're exactly right. First of all, the Gateway Tunnel, which is what New York and New Jersey officials have wanted for decades, desperately needed link under the Hudson River, helping commuters in both states. And certainly now Governor Sherrill was grateful for that in-kind campaign donation that President Trump made late in that race this last fall, because he took away that funding and in a moment of a fit. And, you know, it was a gift to her because it hurt people in her state. And you're right, though. This is also what Republicans have been saying to me. I wrote about it this week. We've chronicled it a few times now. That President Trump, he's just taking his eye off the ball, they fear. Like, lock in on the economy, lock in on rising prices, like do something about inflation or healthcare costs, whatever it might be, things that voters are likely going to have front of mind this coming November at the midterms. And instead, Trump, first of all, didn't travel this week as his team had promised, these weekly trips to talk about the economy and campaign for Republican officials. But more than that, he seems to really care more about these legacy projects, whether it's the ballroom or the Kennedy Center. He's on a building spree throughout Washington. And Willie, this would be the next, the idea that he would suddenly want to have his name on Dulles and Penn Station, and threatening to keep federal funds away unless that happens helps no one.
I mean, in normal times, this is a massive scandal. The president won't allow a state, a municipality to have funds unless you name something after him. And as you say, you might want to pump the brakes or choose something else on Penn Station, though the new Moynihan Hall is very nice. We'll stipulate that.
It's nice.
But guys, back to Georgia for a second, we don't really have to wonder who directed Tulsi Gabbard to go there, because Tulsi Gabbard wrote in a letter to Congress that it was President Trump himself who ordered her to go to Georgia on that FBI raid. And then you'll recall, after the raid, she called the President of the United States, put him on speakerphone so he could celebrate with the FBI agents who conducted the raid. So there is a pattern. Donald Trump doing something, and then when it goes bad, or the reaction to it, or the polling is bad, say ICE in Minneapolis, for example, he runs from it. And yesterday, as you just showed at the prayer breakfast, said, yeah, that was Pam Bondi who did that, not me.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of the prayer breakfast, there's another extraordinary lost opportunity. Here's something that, you know, I know the people who run it, been a part of it. When I was in Congress, it was a wonderful time. Even when Bill Clinton was going through impeachment, I mean, it was we would come together, we would talk, it lessened the tensions. The president, other people would talk about their faith, and it was a good time to come together. Yesterday, you had the president attacking Republicans that voted against him, Thomas Massie especially, attacking Democrats, saying, I don't know why any Christian would vote for.
Okay, y'all. And so we're going to finish this interview in just we're going to finish this video in just a minute. But I did want to correct some of the things that I might have said that may have come across wrong earlier. And so one of the things that I want to be known, right, when it comes to, because y'all know this is what I do. I report, I talk about the politics. I'm heavily embedded in it, and I do have a passion for it. And I see the importance of us being and participating in what is happening in our political sector. And so one of the things that I wanted to just come in and, reiterate is that when it comes to being a Democrat, Republican, independent, however, or whatever side, that you may be on, I don't, when I make certain comments and stuff, sometimes I don't always put out that disclaimer that I'm talking just about that individual person or individual group or individual situation. And that is what these things typically are about. If it is a person that is, out here that I have to report on that's doing something, and it just happens to be a Republican, or there's a group of people over here that's doing something that's shaky and shady, and they happen to be Republican, that's, it's because of those individuals singularly, right? I never want to speak on anybody or make them feel as though when I'm speaking that I'm speaking to a whole entire group or party. So I'm not talking about all Republicans. I'm not talking about everybody who may be a Republican. This is what they do. This is how they move. This is what they feel. Even though sometimes if I'm not paying attention, it may come out of my mouth that way. You know what I mean? I may say it that way, but that's not my intention, and that's not what I mean. And so as we can see here, this is why I try to play a lot of different platforms or whatnot of individuals who may stand on different sides, right? But at the core of it all, you can see with the conversation that we all are seeing what is important, at the core of what we all need to pay attention to as human beings, the rights for human beings, the Constitution, the amendments, the freedoms, the safety of it all for us as people, period. No matter our race, no matter what, political side we take, we all are human beings at the core. We all are the same. We're more the same than different, honestly, if we pay attention to one another. And the little small things about us that are different, that's what makes us unique. It doesn't make us different to make us shy away or separate from one another. It makes us unique, so we can have more fun. We can learn more from each other. We can, you know what I mean, pick up on different styles and different knowledges and different, ways to talk, ways to walk, ways to dress. All of those different things that are different about us are what's unique about us. And I think that we all should really dive more into that and understand that, and I know, and this is difficult, and I knew it was going to be difficult when I hopped on, wanting to talk about these things in a public way when it comes to politics. Sometimes, and it's really not my forte to really talk about religion or spirituality. I just only express what mine is. Hold on, I have to stop the microwave. I just only express what mine is. But over here on my platform, I'm very open and welcoming to anybody who may have a different spirituality or religion from me. That doesn't make it, to where we can't have a conversation and kick it and have fun together and laugh together and talk about stuff. We should not let these things keep us separated, and then when it does come to the hard conversations that need to be had, if we do it in a, mature way, then we can have those conversations despite our differences. And it doesn't have to end in argument, and it doesn't have to end in fighting, and it doesn't have to go to no ugly route or way. We have to push these muscles forward, understanding that we all are not the same. We're not all alike, and we don't all think the same. We don't all live the same experiences, but we still can unite. We still can be connected with each other. We still can be cool with each other, That's just all I hope to see in the world in the future to come. So I just wanted to make that quick disclaimer, because I think I said something earlier that might have rubbed off a little bit wrong, and I might have said it in a way that I didn't mean for it to come out. But at that time when I was watching that video, that individual that was speaking had mentioned that he was a Republican or whatnot, and it was like, for him, it was about his money and stuff like that. And I didn't want it to seem like, oh, everybody who's a Republican, that's all they care about. It's just money and nothing else. So I didn't mean for it to come off like that. If it did and you took it that way, I apologize. It's not the way I meant for it to come out. But as we listen to these different reports and we hear these different sides of the conversation with a lot of these reports, we see like there's Democrat podcasts and news stations that are speaking. There's Republican podcasts and news stations that are speaking. And, there's some that is, okay, we're not going to agree with how they think and how they move and how they, see it playing out. And there's some that are all seeming to be on the same page, so where we can be in that middle space. That's that comfortable, I think, balanced middle space that I think is what, maybe is best for us to be in. Like, if we all can just put our differences aside and see, like, when it comes on a grand scale of things that are important, if we can just connect with one another and find some type of middle ground. I think we need more of that, right? And so I just try to put up, these pieces of content and have these conversations to show like there's conversations coming from both sides. And when it comes to the severity of what we're seeing happening and really like rolling out right now, even on both sides, there are people that they get it. They get it and they see it for what it is. A lot of this is not, most of this, honestly, it's not right. And it's not how we think this world should move and operate. It is not how we should have to live as a people. And then some of the thorns and the hard differences and, the ones that we know are not for us and not with us, that sometimes stands out too. And when it does, then yeah, we'll call that out. We'll put a big major flashlight right over it and point it out to the people, because those are the ones that's holding us back from the progression moving forward that we need to have. And anyway, let's keep going. That's all I wanted to say. So just a quick disclaimer. I do apologize if any of my statements earlier were offensive. I did not mean it that way.
Or Democrats, when in fact, because they oppose me all the time, when in fact, there are a lot of people that actually were raised in the church asking, why would anybody support so many of these Republican policies that run completely counter to Jesus's direct, unambiguous teaching. You got Mike Johnson, like Christ explaining the Bible to the Pope because the Pope dared to actually quote Jesus's words. You could go on. And then, you know, Willie, Donald Trump's coalition, the Republicans' coalition, is not crumbling from the edges. It's crumbling from the center. He's losing the independents. He's losing, of course, Democrats that may have voted for him. He's losing working Americans that voted for him in the past. And everything he's doing is causing that collapse in the center to continue and drive his numbers and Republican numbers down. And of course, overnight, he put out a Truth Social post that was a racist post depicting the former president of the United States and First Lady as monkeys, as primates. And, you know, that's only going to hurt the, you know, they're sitting there thinking, oh, we're going to own the libs. Oh, we're going to make the libs mad. No,
I'll be so triggered.
That's not what happens. I mean, at this stage, all you're doing is hurting the Republican Party. All you're doing is hurting your support in the center. All you're doing is making sure Democrats have a great off-year election. All you're doing is making yourself look pathetic, Republicans, for not standing up to this open racism and bigotry. Again, in normal times, would end somebody's political career that day. And every Republican
or any career
in normal times would have come out and attacked this racism and this bigotry. But the thing is, they think Democrats are going to get angry. Now Democrats just look at it and they're staring at the Republicans going, really? You're not going to say anything about this? Because this doesn't own the libs. This destroys, it's just all of this stuff destroys Republican support among the very voters they need to win elections.
Yeah, unambiguously racist posts amplified by the president of the United States about a former president of the United States and a former first lady of the United States. And I think it's safe to say we can predict this well, that Republicans will say either I didn't see the post or sometimes he just retweets or retruths or whatever. And we can't hold him accountable for all the crazy things he does. And that's just the pattern. But he should be held accountable for that. It's disgusting. It's appalling. And people can go look at it for themselves. And you're right, Joe. I mean, again, normal people look at this stuff. They look at the post last night or they look at what's happening in the streets of Minneapolis. You can go down the list and they go, I don't want this. This is not. And so I think you saw it even in that poll we saw yesterday about the shooting death of Alex Preddy, where you only had 22% of Americans saying, yeah, we agree with the administration's point of view on this, that it was justified. He was an agitator. 22%. I mean, that's below the MAGA slice of whatever you want to call it, the diehards, 30 to 35%. So he used to have, or often sometimes still does, the president, good political instincts, but to continue to do this stuff and to shed voters, to shed support, Caddy K, as we embark here on this election in the fall. And maybe there's a reason he doesn't want to talk about the economy. It's because there was another bad jobs number yesterday, or that, as Steve Ratner showed us in his charts yesterday, just the data that they're putting out, the numbers, the things he's claiming about how strong the economy simply aren't true statistically, factually, and also that most people in the country are not feeling that way about the economy.
Yeah, and the truth is the president can't do very much about the economy. I mean, he can bring in a new Fed chair who could bring down interest rates to try and make things cheaper to some extent for Americans. But there isn't a whole lot that he can do. And he's still running because he still has this fundamental belief, this confusing tariff policy, which is one of the things that has made life increasingly expensive for Americans. So the things he is wedded to, he's refusing to let go, like tariffs and putting up a fortress wall around America in terms of trade, and the other things he can't do very much about. So I think that's why he won't talk about the economy. And then he tries to make a joke out of affordability, but it's a joke that doesn't land because people are still feeling that there are high prices. Again and again, the president goes back to his original playbook. Let's go back to 2020. Let's go back to immigration, because these are tactics that seem to have worked for him before in terms of owning the libs. But even we had the numbers earlier this week, right, guys? Even on immigration, you look at the numbers, 51% say America is less safe because of the immigration policies, and only 22% of Americans, that's smaller than we think his MAGA base is, think that the killing of Alex Pretty is justified. So the policies he thinks are working for him are turning people away. The policies he would like to change, there's not much he can do about.
Well, yeah, and you know, it's one thing for Americans to oppose Donald Trump's immigration policies, and that makes sense from what they're seeing in the streets of Minneapolis and St. Paul. It's quite another. I was really struck by the poll. Did Donald Trump's immigration policies make you safer or less safe? And the majority of Americans say it makes Americans less safe. That's just an absolute stunning, almost shocking turnaround from over the past year. It does. I mean, obviously, you look at the killings, you look at the brutality that Donald Trump's Kristi Noem's forces are engaging in, the secret police. Get the masks off, please. Get the masks off, please.
The weaponry.
Get the masks off and tell them to stop brandishing their guns whenever they get out of their cars. But Americans feel less safe about that when, in fact, the issue that matters is the issue he mugs, which is affordability. And just a couple of quick facts. First of all, jobless numbers came out yesterday. Private surveys showing jobless numbers are spiking, skyrocketing. Secondly, you look at grocery prices. The last measurement we have is from December. Grocery prices jumped up. We're more inflationary in the month of December than any time since 2022. 2022. And so that's what Americans want to talk about, not renaming crappy airports and lousy railway stations or racist tweets or Greenland or, you know, Venezuela or all this other stuff, insults at prayer breakfast that are meant to bring people together. That's I would say you're only speaking to your base. But now it looks like in a lot of these polls, you're not even speaking to your 35%. That 35% is becoming 25, 22%. More and more Americans really shocked by what they're seeing.
All right, y'all. So as you can hear, you know, there's a lot of good conversation happening on all sides, right? On all of the platforms. And I guess it is up to us to listen to and pay attention to the receipts, the evidence and stuff that is putting before our eyes, and some of the talking points and how we think and we feel equally as well. We may take one side over the other. And who's to say which side is right or wrong? I no longer can be sure. All I know is that, you know, sometimes I just feel as though we need to stand in what we know is right, you know, where the integrity lies, where the common sense lies, you know, where the goodness and the righteousness lies. But that's me. I can't put that on everybody else and where they want to stand and where they want to move and who they want to rock with. But y'all know what side we take over here. We about to take a quick little song break, and after this is the part y'all been waiting for. We're going to go ahead and get into this Nicki Minaj versus Jay-Z situation. And I'm going to talk to y'all about a little bit of how all of this started and where it began and where we are now, and some of the things that we are hearing and seeing on her socials. So we'll get into that in just a moment. Let's take this quick song break, and I'll be right back.
Beef, you want the who said what, but when the blood is in the street, you keep your big mouth shut. You run the numbers up for clicks on every toxic lil, but skip the stream about the kids who barely can survive. You're addicted to the circus dancing for $1 bill, while experimenting on us popping every kind of pill. Algorithm got you trapped, a digital lobotomy. You'd rather watch a dummy tech than learn about autonomy. Low vibrations, yeah, that's all you crave. Mind of a zombie, walking to the grave. Talk about the spirit, talk about the fight. You vanish like a ghost, you disappearing in the night. Dumbass zombies, sleepers in the cell. Build your own prison in this digital hell. Low vibration. We moving on. Hypertext is boring. think spiritual rarity is deep? That's exactly what they wanted, just to keep your soul asleep. They shout down when I good. They're hunting for the press, and you're arguing in comments about a rapper summer dress. It's a war on your mind, it's a war on your health, but you're too busy scrolling, giving stupid all your wealth. I'm a golden queen, I'm 10 toes down in the mud, while you're chasing cloud and spilling everybody's blood. Are you a fan of your own destruction? Is the gossip worth your soul? Unplug the wire. Debate the self. Mama Warrior told you. Now bring it back. Low vibrations. Yeah, that's all you crave. Mind of a zombie. Walking to the grave. Talk about the spirit. Talk about the fight. You vanish like a ghost. You're disappearing in the night. Dumbass zombies. Sleepers in the cell. Feel your own prison in this digital hell. Let's go. Vibrations. Yeah. Numbers drop when the truth gets loud. But I'd rather have a few than a brainless crowd. Yeah, the veil to the world, high frequency only. Mama, warrior, golden queen.
All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and get into the final video for the live, and none other than Reese Waters is going to be breaking all of this down for us. So apparently, Nicki Minaj is crashing out on, ties to Jay-Z and the Epstein files. She done found something she can bring up. But let's go ahead and get into a little bit of a synopsis of what has been going on between Nicki and Jay-Z if nobody knows. So the situation with Nicki Minaj and Jay-Z has evolved from a business dispute into a full blown out political and personal war. As of February 2026, Nicki has fully crashed out on social media, aligning herself with the MAGA movement while hurling explosive allegations at the Roc Nation founder. Okay, so the roots of the feud, y'all, what does it always allude to? Money and sabotage. So the title did. The friction started years ago, but boiled over in 2025. Nicki claims Jay-Z owes her between $100 million to $200 million from the sale of the streaming service Tidal. She alleges that as an original artist owner, she was promised equity that never materialized when the company was sold to Jack Dorsey. Now, there's also the Super Bowl snub. Tension spiked when Kendrick Lamar was chosen for the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show in New Orleans. Nicki publicly blasted Jay-Z, who produced the show, claiming he intentionally blocked Lil Wayne from the slot, despite her and Wayne. And her and Wayne used to be together on Young Money, right? So then we have industry RICO issues. Nicki has repeatedly accused Jay-Z, allegedly, and Roc Nation CEO Desiree Perez of using mafia-style tactics to blacklist her, manipulate Billboard charts, and sabotage her career. Now, the crash out with the Epstein allegations. In early February 2026, right, just about 6 days ago, Nicki took to her social media Nicki took to her social media and rants to a different and dangerous new level. She started mentioning the Epstein files. Following the DOJ's release of the final tranche of Jeffrey Epstein documents, Nicki began posting on X, formerly known as Twitter, suggesting Jay-Z was involved. The reality check was, while Jay-Z's name did appear in the DOJ document, it was in 2019. It was a public tip to the FBI, not in Epstein's personal logs or flight records. There are no charges held against him at this time. Now we gotta get into the Democrats post. Nicki used the rumors to pivot to politics, tweeting, "If you ever vote Democrat again, you're just as soulless as they are." She has even shared old photos of Jay-Z with Aaliyah to imply predatory behavior, which many critics pointed out is ironic given her own husband and brother's legal histories, y'all. So Then we got to get into the TPUSA and the #1 Trump fan comments. Nicki has officially left the middle ground and is now a central figure in conservative politics. TPUSA America Fest, remember that, 2025, just in December. Nicki shocked the world by appearing at the Turning Point USA America's Fest. She stood alongside Erica Kirk, who is the widow now of Charlie Kirk, and praised Donald Trump as handsome and dashing. She also spoke and said that she was his #1 fan on January 29, 2026. She appeared with President Trump at a Treasury Department summit. She declared herself his #1 fan and revealed she is finalizing her U.S. citizenship paperwork with his help. Now, we all been laughing about it and we seen it, y'all. She received that Trump gold card. She recently showed off a gold card visa on social media, claiming she is working directly with the administration to fund Trump accounts for her fans. Now, here's the policy alignment. She has become a vocal supporter of the administration's crackdown on immigration, despite her own history as an undocumented child and their focus on protecting Christians abroad. So Nicki Minaj has officially traded the recording studio for the campaign trail. After a year of accusing Jay-Z of stealing millions of dollars from her and sabotaging her music, she has burned every bridge in the industry. She's now the face of MAGA rap, calling out the Democratic Party as evil and positioning herself as President Trump's closest celebrity ally. While she claims she's exposing the truth, her critics say she's just looking for a new power base after being sidelined by the hip-hop elites. I don't know what y'all think. Y'all let me know, child. I have some thoughts and feelings, y'all. We can talk about it. But you know who talks about it better than I do? One of my new favorite people and channels and podcasts on YouTube, Reese Waters. So I'm going to let him get into it and talk to y'all about it, child. He a comedian and it be funny and I'll be rolling. So we're going to let him talk about it. We'll watch that together, y'all. Please, please, please. If you have not shown any support or went over to the channel to check him out, go over there and check him out, y'all. Subscribe to the channel. Please like some of the videos. Become a member and show support. Because Reese Waters, for real, yo, when I come across, I was like, yo, he is dope. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this, y'all. I will meet y'all in the comment section per usual.
Chose to stand an artist whose husband has a record, and your position is gloating that one of her contemporaries might be in the same situation as the woman you chose to stand. I just now I see why they thought posting the gold card was a good idea. Like now it all makes sense. Well, shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters, and this is Who Raised Y'all, where we highlight those unique individuals going above and beyond to make society worse.
I am probably the president's #1 fan.
You know, the kinds of people you'll see asking to speak to the manager at the pearly gates.
I want to talk to the manager.
Now, there I was, minding my own business, watching the big fight this weekend.
Off his head, Sergio! Wow! That is going to make the rounds on social media. That's like a cartoon. Oh, my goodness gracious.
What a terrible way to lose a parlay. I knew better than put that leg about his hairpiece staying on. I knew that was silly, but all is not lost, though, because I was actually looking into that for the back. I was looking into that for the back, and now I know it's not rugged enough for my needs. Huh? No, I'm not a boxer, but that's how Trump news just be hitting you. You know what I mean? Just out of nowhere, Trump news just be hitting you. So I need something that's going to be secure. I need some coverage, because that's exactly how it felt. Over 3 million files from Epstein supposedly getting released today. Just this one file alone has 26 different new claims against Trump. How many of these were properly investigated? Well, I suppose you could take a look at literally any of the investigations that they publicly botched, or I don't know, you could keep it confined to the release of the Epstein files and tell me about the quality of that work. DOJ busted for removing Epstein files accusing Trump. The Department of Justice reportedly scrubbed numerous files relating to Jeffrey Epstein and President Trump from its website after Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche announced the release of the Epstein files and tell me about the quality of that work. DOJ busted for removing Epstein files accusing Trump. The Department of Justice reportedly scrubbed numerous files relating to Jeffrey Epstein and President Trump from its website after Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche announced the release of around 3 million Epstein documents on Friday. The Bulwark Sam Steen noted that some details of documents containing Trump's name were hard to read. Those documents were unavailable on the DOJ's website less than an hour later. The pages, however, were archived on X by user Bobby Salsa. That's right. The best efforts of our federal government were thwarted by Bobby Salsa. And shout out to you, Bobby. Shout out to you for all your work and also the fact that you gave us that reference. Why don't we do this? Because in any other scenario where you are caught hiding the evidence, the general conclusion is to assume the worst. Is it not? I can't think of a scenario where evidence was hidden and it was positive. Ain't nobody ever hid no A's on the report card. I ain't know anybody ever hid no A's. Actually, that's a lie, because you were bullied for being a nerd all throughout grade school. So you actually did hide A's because they would throw you in bushes and stuff for being smart. You did that. I mean, every black kid with glasses in the 80s and 90s had to be Urkel. I mean, come on. I was a human being after all. You know, maybe the hidden Trump files were in those booklets they gave out to the MAGA influencers once upon a time.
Y'all on the internet coming for Kash Patel saying he's day 5 and we haven't gotten the Epstein files. Well, I'm here outside the West Wing and look at what we got today. The Epstein files, baby. Let's make America safe again.
But didn't Kash Patel tell us there was no credible info? So would that not be relevant to what they're putting out now? Kash, you should have put one of those FBI jackets on top of that statement. We'll borrow one.
There's no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
But of course, none of the hiding and ducking and dodging of the evidence with regards to the Epstein files would have been possible without it being laundered by MAGA media. Remember this?
Thousands of hours of tape. There are, by the way, but they are child. The reason the FBI is not releasing them is because those tapes do not include underage people with third parties on Epstein Island. That is not what the tapes are. Okay? I also have sources in the federal government who are covering this stuff and have seen the documents. Okay, those tapes are just child. That's all. That's what they are. That's why the FBI is not releasing them. Okay, as far as the Epstein list, what I have been told by my sources is that there is no Epstein list, that basically there's a black book of Jeffrey Epstein contacts. And the vast majority of those contacts are already out there publicly. That's why you know names like Prince Andrew or Alan Dershowitz or some of the names that have been mentioned here. Those contacts, there's no evidence, according to the DOJ.
I think one of the things, and yes, thank you very much, Sugar Warning. One of the things that I think that people, please, people, if you're listening to what you hear these people speaking on and how they're trying to save their assets, let's just be very clear. One of the things that you always hear them talk about is these names aren't on there. There's no names, no names, no names, no names, no names, right? And when you're saying that, and that's your first defense, that means that you're trying to protect individuals that have probably most likely done something wrong, because all you care about is the names of the individuals on said list that participated was there and probably doing these heinous things. What you're not paying enough attention to when it comes to me is the survivors, the victims with names and identities, some that are in a place right now where they're strong enough and brave enough to speak out and have done so. Some not so much, but that's okay, because when they go through things like that, it is up to them as to when they are comfortable to speak out and bring all of this to awareness to the public. But what about the survivors and the victims that have come out and are now been speaking to the public? Do y'all care anything about their names, or is it just about the names of the offenders and the individuals that participated and were there and not just maybe did something, but maybe bear witness to what was going on and did nothing? It's always about the ones that you want to protect, right? The wrongdoers is always the ones that have to be protected. But when it comes to the ones who have had some type of offense or something happening to them, even if their names and their story is out there, that's unaccounted for, right? Let's keep going.
And the FBI, and again, that's public. There's no evidence that any of those third parties were having girls trafficked to them.
And just in case you think they're finished with their Epstein wash cycle, yeah, that includes you too, Megyn Kelly. Well, put that wig in there. We remember what you said.
Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls.
Just in case you thought they were finished with the Epstein wash cycle, the same day as they get caught out by Bobby Salsa, we're getting this narrative. They finally release all the files. You sure about that, Benny Johnson? Huh? You sure about that? Right in front of your face, MAGA. Like right in front of your face, MAGA. I can't tell you how dumb they expect y'all to be. But here's what you missed.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Here's a list of famous people in the files, what they allegedly did, and the citation numbers I'll put right here so you can see them for yourself. Sammy Sosa allegedly attended a party with Donald Trump and Epstein where several women were being auctioned off. Jay-Z was allegedly present when a victim was abducted and assaulted by Harvey Weinstein in Epstein's Florida mansion. Pusha T was allegedly hired as a handler who would administer substances to his victims so Epstein and his associates could assault them. Elon Musk asked Epstein to go to the island multiple times and also asked what night the wildest party will be. And Bill Gates allegedly gave his wife an STD and asked Epstein for antibiotics and to delete the emails regarding the STD. I will make a separate video for all of the people who are in Trump's current cabinet and all of the politicians involved in this as well.
Sammy Sosa and Jay-Z, why are these reading like backstage at the Source Awards in the 90s? Like, no offense, Source. No offense, Source. It was just literally just a reference. Sammy Sosa, Jay-Z, and Pusha T. Trump wasn't even on there. And he pushing 30 plus credible. This what we doing? Jay-Z mentioned in Epstein files with shocking claims. Federal documents reveal unverified allegations from anonymous FBI hotline calls dating back decades. Wait a minute. Read that one more time. Federal documents reveal unverified allegations from anonymous FBI hotline calls dating back decades. The release that shook the internet. The Justice Department dropped over 3 million pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein, and the names inside sparked immediate reactions across social media. Among those mentioned, Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, alongside disgraced film producer Harvey Weinstein and rapper Pusha T. But context matters here. Jay-Z and Pusha T don't appear in Epstein's personal logs or flight records. Their names show up in intake reports from an FBI hotline that solicited tips from the public in 2019, years after Epstein's initial conviction and months before his death in federal custody. Now, we do not know the veracity of these claims. And so it must be treated as such. I don't know it to be true. I don't know it not to be true. So I will not poo-poo it or take it to be fact. The internet is rife with Jay-Z stans and defenders trying to absolve him in every way they possibly could. You said 96? You said 96? He came to my mama's house. He was at my mama's house, so he couldn't have been there. As well as Jay-Z haters all but convicting him. I think now I myself am neither. I would say I fall somewhere in the middle. You know, people used to tell me when I was younger I looked like Jay-Z, which is bullying. If we're being honest, that is. They didn't say I had his money. They didn't say I could rap like Jay-Z. No, they said I looked like Jay-Z. So that there was that. And I was also in New York when he dropped Hard Knock Life, which ruined Annie, as well as New York with Alicia Keys, which drove me nuts. I was actually happy when Lil Mama went on stage because they had to stop singing.
And we're sure this is shocking for many of you that just hear the news and
Now, when it comes to the severity of being in the Epstein files, all references should be taken seriously. I would put being mentioned in an FBI tip that the FBI themselves didn't see fit to investigate, somewhere underneath actual correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein, which would be underneath incriminating correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein. I see you over there, Elon. Which would be underneath incriminating correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein, and then actual witnesses' testimony on the record, and also weaponizing the DOJ to hide files. Like I would put that would be my hierarchy.
That's called common sense.
So here's the question that I have. Without any knowledge or understanding of the truthfulness of these claims that the FBI, upon taking this tip, did not see fit to investigate, are they being published alongside actual victim accounts and correspondence with Jeffrey Epstein himself? Now, maybe it could be an abundance of caution when it comes to the possibility of perpetrators out there, making sure that every victim, in fact, gets their justice. Right? Maybe they did it for the victims.
stop the cap.
New Epstein survivor statement on the latest DOJ release. Survivors are having their names and identifying information exposed, while the men who abused us remain hidden and protected. The latest release of Jeffrey Epstein files is being sold as transparency, but what it actually does is expose survivors. Once again, survivors are having their names and identifying information exposed, while the men who abused us remain hidden and protected. This is outrageous. As survivors, we should never be the ones named, scrutinized, and re-traumatized, while Epstein's enablers continue to benefit from secrecy. This is a betrayal of the very people this process is supposed to serve. So let me get this straight. So you have survivors coming out and saying that we're being exposed while the men who abused us are being protected, while we run on FBI tip line information that they never even investigated in the first place. I just, All the creators are doing Jay-Z and Pusha T, and I'm not watching. He's mad at Beyonce for backing Harris. Nicki Minaj is suing Jay-Z. Jay-Z is the face of the Super Bowl halftime show. Kendrick Lamar and Bad Bunny. A whole mess, but a distraction nevertheless. Now, there was a whole lot of that. And one thing that needs to be mentioned once again is I will remain neutral when it comes to the truthfulness of these claims. That being said, they have to be evaluated with some semblance of a level playing field. And it feels a bit suspicious to be pushing out FBI tip line references while actual accused perpetrators on the record's names have been hidden and victims aren't being protected. That is something. That is really something. And if you want to know just how left this discourse has gotten, Beyonce, how must it be feeling sleeping with a that's on the Epstein files? Up, here come the Barbs. Barbs are in the neighborhood talk comments blaming Nicki instead of being mad at Jay-Z. Go check them. Us Barbs get dragged for breathing, but now the FBI, DOJ speaking on Jay-Z and these Epstein files. I'm watching to see who's still standing on morals.
Sorry, y'all. I can't help but laugh. Wow, so much unpacked there. So much unpacked, right? So now we're getting into, and again, not laughing at the severity of the situation because it is a serious situation, and there are a lot of survivors and victims that have come out of this situation. So nothing about that is funny. What I'm laughing at is these entertainers, these rappers, these singers, whatever it is you want to call them. What I'm laughing at now is that the chickens are coming home to roost. And we knew that these chickens was going to come home to roost at some point in time. We just didn't know when or how. And we know, and we have suspected over the years that there were certain ones of these individuals that have been pretty nasty work. And, there's been whistleblowers and things that have come out and said things to, allude to us that these people are nasty work. And then also, we can see and hear certain things with our own minds and put puzzle pieces together ourselves, right, to allude to the fact that these people are nasty work. So now, the great divide, child, it will happen. It'll happen. It always tends to happen. That's just how life is now. Okay, so we have on one hand, we got three names here, three big names when it comes to the entertainment industry. Okay, we got Nicki Minaj, we got Jay-Z, we got Beyonce. We got a Beyonce that is married to a Jay-Z. We got a Nicki Minaj that is pissed off with a Jay-Z because they was supposed to be doing some type of work together, and that work they was doing together went south, right? So child and Nicki's supposed to be out of millions of dollars, right? Because of this work that went south. Oh my God, this stuff gets so deep. Okay. So now we got a Nicki Maga Minaj, who is now over here buddy with Erica Kirk with TPUSA, and also buddy with Donald Trump, who is the president of the United States. And they seem to be rocking it out, having a good time, sharing caviar and champagne and all the things, right? And we also have Nicki Minaj having, family members and males within said family that have, done some heinous, real nasty work things when it comes to, we talking about sex offending. Excuse me for just calling it what it is. I hope not to be in trouble for that. But yeah, sex offending. and predatory things. Right? This is the people and her bloodline, or that she married herself into, that have, you know, been known to do these type of things. This is these type of males that she has in her life, right? Then we got Jay-Z, that she has felt as though she got into a business arrangement with and did not get her fair pay as far as that said business arrangement. So she got a gripe, you know, she got a big gripe. Then we got Beyonce, who is married to said Jay-Z. So that means they are husband and wife, and anything that benefits him benefits her, because that's how marriages is supposed to work, depending on, I don't know, whatever type of paperwork or anything like that people may have signed or get, you know, typed up. But that's typically how it works. What's yours is mine, and what's mine is yours. You know, those type of things. And there has been things said about the actions and the characteristics of Beyonce as well, you know, but we're not speaking about that on this live. I guess that can be a conversation for another day. There has been some very questionable songs on Beyonce's last album as far as lyrics. And now we're here. This is where we're at. And then we also have this major thing called the Epstein files that is, you know, it's being released little by little. We say little by little because in the grand mass of how many documents and how much can be released, it's really on a trickling state. Like they're just releasing little by little as they go. We know there's a lot more, and we know that y'all probably just releasing, you know, the mediocre stuff. The real serious things that's probably included within those files, that's what y'all saving for last, right? So, you know, that has not been released yet, or I guess, you know, got a hold to. Maybe people are waiting for the ace in the hole. I don't know. I say just go ahead and release it all and let the chips fall where they may. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, people need to have leverage. So they'll hold on to some things, I believe, you know, and release them when they see fit, when the time is right. I say put it all out there now so the people can get their proper justice, you know. But we can't be sure if any of these individuals are in the files. We do not know if Jay-Z or Beyonce is in the files. We don't see the files really, honestly, as the public. And the files or whatever it is that they have put up, a lot of stuff has been redacted. So we can't see the names. We don't know who is in these files. We cannot be sure, right, that they're included in that. So we cannot make those assumptions because that's dangerous to do and that's dangerous to say. So we can't be sure of that. However, Nicki Minaj, for whatever reason, well, we know what the reason is, because she has been cheated out, or she feels as though she's been cheated out of money, and she has a disdain for Roc Nation and Jay-Z and Beyonce and all the things. She is the one putting her lips and her mouth on the fact that their names could be or are on the files. But we have not seen that proof with our own eyes. We don't see that on no paperwork or no documents or nothing that has been submitted and publicified for us to see. So we can't say that. We don't know that. But these are the lengths that Nicki will go to because she's mad and she's in her feelings because, you know, she feels like she was cheated out of money. And so this is her type of work. But we also see her over there at TPUSA. We see her holding hands with Trump and saying that she's his biggest fan. She's calling him handsome and all of the things. Child. Okay. Can we really trust her judgment? Her judgment and the things that she's been saying, you know, as of lately, we can't be sure. But what I know is when it comes to a beef or it comes to somebody, you know, having disdain in their heart for somebody, that's always going to happen. It always does happen. However, when it comes to serious matters, when it gets legal, then I think people should be careful with the things that they see and they run with and they carry themselves with, because we cannot be sure. If you're not sure 100%, if you don't have the receipts and the evidence 100%, then speaking on these things that can put you actually yourself in a great bit of trouble. So I'm saying that as a disclaimer over here, as I'm reporting on this and I'm making my commentary. I am not saying anybody has done anything. I'm not. I am not accusing anybody of doing anything. I am not saying that I know anything. I haven't even seen majority of these Epstein files. I think I might have seen maybe 1, 2, 3 page that they posted up. And it's because other people are posting it up on their platform. And I'm just looking at what they're posting up. So no, I have not sat here and looked at those files and read those files top to bottom for myself with my own eyes to be able to speak on anything. And so I just want to make that very clear. I'm not saying that nobody is on no Epstein file. Their name is in there. They've done anything. I don't know these things to be true. All I'm seeing is what's being reported on. We got lawyers that are, reviewing these files very professionally because that is what lawyers do. They review files, okay? Paralegals, they review files, okay? And once they are solidified, then they will get posted and put up in the places and spaces that they are supposed to go. And sometimes it's for the public to be able to have access to, and sometimes not. But I know that there's, content creators that are not just a content creator, that are lawyers, that are professionals, that know how to read through documents, know how to sort through things and see what is real, what is right, what has been redacted, what is not. They know how to present that information in the most professional way as possible, okay? Whether they posting it or they reading it or whatever, okay? And then if people have their own personal stuff, then of course they can, people can do what they want to do with their own personal stuff. When it comes to this, my question is, and what I'm asking people, because we have heard about all of this throughout the years. We know that there is, and we've seen on Twitter Spaces, and we've seen on X, which is formerly known as Twitter, the crash outs and the anger and all of the things that, Nicki Minaj has been feeling and posting about the wrongdoing that has happened to her, with this whole title thing, business deal or whatever, with her and Jay-Z and several other people. I think like Drake was in there, some other people was in there and stuff like that. And so, yeah, she feel a type of way because she feel like, she was cheated. She didn't get what she was deserved. And, she got a big issue. And now she's cozying up to people that can help her handle that said issue, even if it's, just about that, or if it's something else that maybe these people can get caught up in or hemmed up in. So I don't know, is that what we think is like entertaining? Is that what we think should happen or people should do? You know what I mean? Like, look, I can't be sure about it. I can't be sure. But the reports is coming out and we're going to keep continuing to listen in, and see what is happening, child. But a lot of people are saying, it's giving very much the pot calling the kettle black because you're nestling up and cozying up to someone who is clearly okay, at minimum, okay with being around people that, or males that commit these type of heinous crimes when it comes to, SO, predatorial type like stuff. And a lot of people are saying that you're cozy with that because the ones that are closest to you, such as your husband, your brother, your family members, have actually done the same thing, and you turn a blind eye to it and you don't care, right? Because they're your family. So it's okay when they do it. It's not okay when nobody else do it. I can't be sure, like, what we talking about here. Where do we draw the line here? We can't be sure. But a lot of people is saying that this is the pot calling the kettle black when it comes to any of these things, because how dare you talk or have anything to say about anybody else when look at your situation that you have in your life, your personal life, like it's not the best. It's not like you riding and rolling with some real effed up shit. Like, let me just be clear about that. And so it's just like, where do you stand when it comes to, do you think that type of stuff is okay? Have you been desensitized enough within your sector of family and friends that you think that this type of stuff is okay, and you want to overlook what is going on in your family and your circle, but you want to point fingers and get mad at other people because you just didn't get the money or a payout that you thought you was deserving to get. So now that's the issue. Like, look, it's an issue no matter what. Let's be very clear about that. I don't care who has done it, who does it. I don't care who you people are. I really don't. I don't care if you're a rapper. I don't care if you're an entertainer. I don't care if you're an actor, actress, anybody. I don't care how many Grammys you got. I don't care how many Versace's you wear. I don't care how many cars you drive. I don't care how big your mansion. I don't care about none of that. You move, you operate, you do these type of things, you're a nasty piece of work, period. Period, exclamation point, exclamation point. That's it. So, like, a lot of this is getting real ridiculous to me, because it's just like there's certain nuances that are getting in the way to confuse people from the severity of the situations on both sides, right? Like, and what are we saying here? Like, what is the purpose? What are you doing here? Like, you want to put, or you want to say that this individual name is in the Epstein files. Okay. Well, where is that page? Where is that part where their name is there? And if they're in the files, does that allude to that they have committed a crime, right? Like, what exactly was they doing at that time being around Epstein, hanging and partying with Epstein? Did they do these type of things? Or is it just because they were, people with money tend to talk to other people with money. And so if they was just having a conversation, or they might have had a drink together or something like that, and then, I'm not making no excuses for nobody. I'm just saying we just got to be realistic about all of this. We can't be sure what really is going on, but let's keep going. I'm going to let Reese keep talking about it, okay?
Did you just rush to gloat about Jay-Z being in the Epstein files on a man's website who's in the Epstein files, asked to go to the island even, that was released by your bestie's new friend?
Come to think of it, well...
mentioned so many times they had to coordinate a whole diversion. It took Bobby Salsa to crack it. Is that how cooked we are right now?
Speaking of this, we're on this topic because, Nicki Minaj has been trending, over her.
Fuck her. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. And all of them. Shame. No. The answer is no. And I don't care what that means. I'm out. No. Y'all know what's right. The people want their paper, right? He didn't pardon P. Diddy. Right?
Y'all think Nicki was going that hard on Jay-Z for nothing? She's not crazy, just early. I've always believed Nicki. Now everybody's silent. Can't make this go away that easy. I'm going to sit back and watch how this unfolds. Beyonce's husband of over 20 years, by the way. You willingly chose to stand an artist whose husband has a record, and your position is gloating that one of her contemporaries might be in the same situation as the woman you chose to stand. I just now I see why they thought posting the gold card was a good idea. Like now it all makes sense.
Well,
Nicki's still winning. She has her citizenship. Don Lemon went to jail, and Jay-Z's downfall is happening in real time. Wow. Huh. Well, that's interesting. I thought it was about Christianity. I thought it was about Christianity, but then she went and posted her citizenship card. Huh. Is it about protecting children? Well, it can't be that because she's cozying up with Trump right now and then going home to everybody who's there in their current situation. So, like, and then the Don Lemon of it all. Are you sure, as a fan of an artist, you want to be in the business of muzzling free speech? Have you thought that one through?
Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court.
And by the way, since we're protecting churches, I got one for you.
You should switch to 1-800-CONTACTS because
it's super easy.
So cheap.
I save shipping costs. I save doctor office visit fees.
It was cheaper on 1-800-CONTACTS.
I quoted the Bible at a church and they escorted me out. I would say Romans 1:32, homosexuality is a sin, and whoever supports that is worthy of death. You're not a pastor. You're a satanic pedophile. Leave your pride behind, get on your knees, and follow Jesus Christ. Ask God for forgiveness. Following Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. Do not use his name in vain, because that's exactly what this church is doing. He's using his name in vain. This church is an abomination. All of you are an abomination. When I'm in Congress, I'm taking away the 501(c)(3) status of churches and terrorist mosques. We will ban halal, hijabs, and once their terrorist funding dries up, I'm going to start buying them and tearing down every mosque one by one. I look forward to making Texas the worst place for groomers and terrorist Muslims to live in, so help me God.
Matter of fact, that's for all the MAGA media. That's for all the MAGA media. We protecting churches, right? Is that the thing? Huh? Is that the thing? Standing on morals, wasn't that it? It was standing on morals. That's what they told me. No, I remember. She used to stand on morals. I remember that.
You better pray to God you don't get stuck with a Melania. You want brainless.
Y'all told me it was chess, not checkers, right? Isn't that what y'all told me? Nicki is playing chess, not checkers. This how this chessboard looks.
Oh no. No.
And I can't wait to hear what she dropped next.
Yo, can I get that wall? Can I get that must? Can I get those jeans? Can I get that truck? Can I get that Morgan Wallen on a loop? Can I get ice all around the USA? I was like Trump, hey, do you think you could put a red hat on a Barbie? Okay, let's get it now. I'm with the MAGAs, we in a church. I don't say hi, say we Charlie Kirk. We Charlie Kirk. I'm right, I'm a turf. If a news come get Q, I'ma rip him. Tweet a lot of tweets at him, then yell diss him, then yell diss him, then make every kid detransition. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm really such a sweetie. I rap Republicans, you know Sydney Sweeney, and we be giving donuts to the police on the daily. We give a lot of money to Elon, Donald, and JD, yelling all around the states. Do you hear me? Everybody hates the LGBT. Rest in peace to my old stances. Yes, my dear, I fear the trans kids. Say hi to Ted and Ron DeSantis. Now, which one of you men gonna part of my mans is?
Oh, and one more thing, because you mentioned that whole thing about citizenship, right? Isn't that what y'all mentioned, the citizenship?
Oh, Nicki Minaj, come here. Sit down. Let me hold your hand with a Clorox swipe between us while I tell you this. You really got on Beyonce's internet, held up a little shiny rectangle like it was the infinity stone of immigration, and said gold card secured. And then the White House said it's a memento. A memento. Not a visa, not citizenship, not some elite VIP MAGA laminate. A souvenir. like something you grab from the gift shop on your way out. The confidence is what sends me. The press tour energy, the smugness. You were talking like you unlocked a secret level of America, like you hit a cheat code and bypassed USCIS. Clown, immigration law is not a backstage pass. It's paperwork. It's statutes. It's federal process. It's boring and bureaucratic. And the gag? What exactly were you flexing? A commemorative participation trophy? It's giving pedestrian mentality. And the bouncer is like, ma'am, that's a wristband for the gift shop. Like I said in a previous video, a shiny prop doesn't override federal law. A photo op isn't citizenship. A gold card is not Willy Wonka. Next time, maybe Google before you gloat. Because getting fact-checked by the White House after you already popped your collar, that's not queen behavior. That's peasant behavior. And that's the read. This is the Notorious JTB, notoriously opinionated, signing out.
That's wild. It was like for entertainment purposes only? Huh. That's like the display they have in the store. They gave her the display gold card. The one they have in the window. Wow. I guess they didn't have no more in the back. That's crazy. Yeah, and Katie Miller was cuckooing with you and kikiing with you the whole time, knowing you got the display gold card. That's wild. Huh? Said Katie Miller likes illegals. Apparently.
Holy juicy gossip. Did you hear about Stephen Miller's wife, Katie Miller? Stephen Miller is the author, or one of the authors of Project 2025, and his wife, Katie Miller, is an equal piece of trash, but she works for the White House, and apparently she decided to leave her White House post to go work in the private sector with someone else who just announced that they're leaving government. Who just announced they're leaving the government? Oh, Elon Musk. So the rumor is that Elon Musk and Stephen Miller's wife, Katie Miller, are having an affair.
This is nasty, disgusting work.
This is nasty, egregious work.
It really is. Y'all gotta wash your hands of this. Matter of fact, she gotta wash her hands too, because all that hand makeup then came off on it. So you want to make sure that you clean for the next performance. You look like you got gloves on. And you don't want none of that. Let's remember a mere few weeks ago when they refused to obey the law when it came to the release of the Epstein files. And we heard about all the redaction parties that were happening. The ongoing theory at that time was they were trying to find ways to weaponize what they ended up releasing. And this is what we got. And with MAGA media operating like this, it's no wonder why they thought it would work. Huh? I said they thought it would work. Like the penicillin. Bill Gates, come on, man. I got a whole nother video coming. No, we gonna talk about it. Because I'm still mad about Windows 95. That's why. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and especially thank you for all your fantastic comments.
Sewer rat may taste like pumpkin pie, but I'd never know because I wouldn't eat the filthy mother.
Hey, keep it clean. We got a PG-13 operation here. We got a lot of young eyes and ears. And a lot of old eyes and ears. It's me. I'm the old eyes and ears. All y'all old viewers know, because even as recent as a couple years ago, if something was behind me, I'll just go get it. I just go get it. You fast forward to 2026, something behind me. Because I ain't turning around. And a special shout out to the mods for preserving the sanctity of the chat. I see y'all getting salty with them. That is YouTube that is flagging y'all, not the mods. They are just.
All right, y'all. So that's it for this live. You see, we almost reaching the 4-hour mark. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me for this long. I really appreciate it. And I wanted to come, on my live and not just bring things that can educate us and entertain us, but also share with you people, other content creators that are out there that are doing some really great and excellent content when it comes to, politics, even, hey, celebrity stuff, right? So I've been watching a lot of different channels and a lot of people, and they really got great energy, great channels, good work ethic, and all of the things, all of the good things that we're looking for, they got it. So y'all, if you have a chance, please check them out. I really, really would, suggest that you do that because they're funny, they're intellectual, they have knowledge, they have proof, receipts, evidence, all of the things. And they also are standing up and speaking up for what is right when the time is necessary to do so. And I think that is where we need to be and what we need to do. If you're going to have a voice and a platform, use it properly, And I'm trying to learn how to do that the right way. Sometimes I get it wrong. Sometimes I get it right. I don't know. Right. But yeah. So that was just a few things I wanted to show y'all on this live for today. I won't be back later on this evening. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. So I'll let it run a little bit long because of that. But we'll get into some more things because, as we know, each day there's always something coming out. And so my final words around all of this stuff, especially when it comes to these Epstein files, okay? I know that is one of the biggest ones, and it's one of the ones that we got to be most careful with. Because there are things that are being released and there's pieces of information and names and things of that nature that are being redacted. One thing that I think that is not fair is that if you're going to redact pieces of information when it comes to these files, I don't think it's fair that the offender information gets redacted and yet the, victim or the survivor's information doesn't. And you're not even, with some of these cases, we have heard from victims that they're not even being contacted and asked if it is okay with them for their information to be, exposed and shown within these said files. These files are being released because there's political wars that are happening and these political figures are fighting against each other. And it's almost like, if y'all watch, let's just say, anime or Dragon Ball Z, you know what I mean? Like, this is like the ultimate. This is the ultimate move. If you play video games, the ultimate move, the ultimate attack or whatnot that, can take down, the person that you're up against. It gives that for me when it comes to these files. But it's way more than that because there are people within these said files that have been victimized and they're survivors of some hideous and nasty work that has happened to them when it shouldn't have happened to them, right? And so that is the importance of the matter. The most important thing here, just like Imani said, is that Trump is mentioned in those files almost, 3,800 times. I'm sorry, 38,000 times. And, yes, you're right. Nicki has absolutely nothing to say about that. That is a big issue. If we're going to talk about the stuff around Nicki Minaj, who she's supporting, who she's rocking with, who she's going against, what side do you stand on? Do you stand on the side of what is right? Do you stand on the side of what, what we are seeing, what we are hearing, right? What we have facts and evidence to be true about? Are we going to use our platforms, our mouths, and, being the moguls, if these people call themselves moguls and celebrities that we are, to bring this stuff to awareness or not? This is why I really liked, during the Grammys and when Bad Bunny was up there and other celebrities as well, while receiving their said awards, they took to the stage and took that time to not just make a speech or a statement, that was just going to be specifically for them and the thanks for getting that speech. They were thankful, but they also knew that they could use that time, they could use that platform, they could use that place and space and that, show that is going to be shown worldwide to bring forth a bigger and a more important conversation that needs to be brought up. Okay. And that is what Bad Bunny and others, such as himself, chose to do on that night, because they understand when you have these platforms, you can take use to them and use them in the direction for what is necessary, you know what I mean, to bring change and awareness to a lot of things that is happening. And so salute to all of those celebrities that decided to take that platform and that chance in that moment to talk about some of these important situations that we've seen happening and bring awareness to them so we can get out around the country, around the world. These are important things. Y'all know we have talked about on several different lives about the Nicki Minaj stuff. We know how Nicki Minaj move and operate. We probably all have at some point watched her on her Twitter lives, her Instagram lives, her Spaces lives, all of these different social media apps she's been on, and she talks and talk and do the things that she does. Okay. And so when it comes to that, we kind of know what kind of headspace she's in, right? Now, as far as when it comes to these Epstein files, nobody can talk about or solidify or be sure about who is in there, what has happened, and what, you know what I'm saying, has went down, unless you are looking at the file yourself. You see exactly what it says, what names is in there, and what is playing out. You have to have the receipts for yourself to be able to see it. And even listening to podcasts and platforms and stuff regurgitate that information to you. There's some you can trust to do it that's going to bring you the truth and read it off for you word for word, and you can know for sure that they are telling you exactly what's in there, and there's some that may not. So the best thing to do, right, is to always look at things and read things and find the information for yourself. That way you can feel in your heart and be solidified that you have the right information. And if you talk about it, you know that nobody can press you on it because you know what you read, you know it's there, you know that it exists, right? So we have so many different topics we talked about this evening. We're going to go up and get out of here. We're going to end it per usual with a bop, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow on the next live. I hope everybody has a good rest of the evening, whatever respectful time zone you're in, whether it's morning time, afternoon, evening, or night for you. I hope the rest of your day is great. And I will talk to y'all on the next one, okay? This is Golden signing out, y'all. Bye.
A roof above, a shelter from the storm, a gentle hand to keep your spirit warm, a plate of food, a mind that's free to learn, a simple peace, a righteous wage to earn. These are the needs, the bedrock and the base, the sacred ground of the whole human race. But the screaming and selling something cheap, while the real world babies cry themselves to sleep. We are human, blood and bone and soul, with a right to be loved, a right to be made whole. This is our story, this is our sacred song. In the eyes of the Creator is where we all belong. We are human, with more than they can prize, beyond the hate bruises and the loaded dice. We're human, worth more than they can prize, beyond the hateful whispers and the loaded dice. They're painting pictures twisted and real, teaching our children how they ought to feel. Their values in the label on your shoes, or the filtered life you desperately choose. They check the vision, the mission of the television. Spitting division, a mental prison. Got the youth chasing likes, addicted to the feed, ignoring the hunger, the fundamental need. They building paper idols on a digital stage, putting our future daughters in a virtual cage. Nah, we gotta break the cycle, gotta cut the cord. The real word is powerful, mightier than the sword. So we teach them about their history, teach them about their grace, teach them about the power in every single face. We are human, blood and bone and soul, with a right to be loved, a right to be made whole. This is our story, this is our sacred song. In the eyes of the Creator, it's where we all belong. We are human, worth more than they can price, beyond the hateful whispers and the loaded dice. Human, worth more than they can price, beyond the hateful whispers and the loaded dice. We will build a world where every voice is heard and valued. Yeah. And truth is not a whisper, but a mighty thundering word. A word of justice, a word of peace, a promise that the fight will never cease. This ain't just a track, this a call to action. For every mother, father, every single fraction of the community holding it down on the ground. Time to get loud, make a revolutionary sound. Look your child in the eye, tell them that they matter. Tell them their spirit's something that no lie can shatter. Tell them knowledge is the weapon, love is the shield, and the truth is the harvest we gonna grow in this field. Yeah! Yes, we are. Teach the children near and far. Let them know their sacred work for every single soul on this a right to live, a gift to get it. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let it ring out loud. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea, like the mighty water. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. We remember it all. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Hope is alive, yeah. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on. Let's keep marching till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the casting rock, but we're still here. Steady Oh, say, can you see? Look up, child. By the dawn's early light, it's a new day. What so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming. Hold your head. Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Through the perilous fight. All the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets' red glare, let it shine. The bombs bursting in air, we won't back down. Gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, it's still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave?
Wait for justice.
You tuned into the right place. Welcome to the rain. Golden Queen, H2.0. Let's get it. You're looking for a diamond, found a treasure in the rough. Tired of all the noise, cause you finally had enough. I'm here to build a movement on a mission for the nation. Dropping gems of knowledge, killing all the hesitation. We fighting for the truth, yeah, we fighting for what's right. Building unity and shining up a brand new light. It's a variety channel, but the vision's crystal clear. Pushing us all forward, conquering the doubt and fear. Yo, welcome to the Queendom, H2.0 on your screen. Where the content's real and smart and funny in between. This is more than just a stream, it's a platform for the change. Time to elevate the game and rearrange. So if you're ready for a vibe that you can feel and trust, joining in the movement is a definite must. This ain't just another channel talking smack behind the screen. It's a spotlight for the creators, building up of the scene. Spreading radical love, that's the message in the code. Helping everybody carry up a heavy load. From social justice issues to the laughter that we need. Planting seeds of progress, watch them grow from just a seed. This is authentic, this is raw, this is everything you saw. Welcome to the battle that is truly being fought. Oh, so come with your respect and see the real effect. Cause I protect my own right here on the throne. Don't make me unleash the dragon. You've been Don't make me unleash the dragon, you've been warned. Yeah. Don't make me unleash the dragon, you've been warned. Yeah. Yeah. Golden Queen H2.0. The movement starts now. Go ahead. Hit subscribe, ring that notification bell. don't wanna miss a thing. Welcome to the family.